High horsepower, low downforce, hot day, slick track. What's going to happen next?
Recipe for excitement, that's what.
As they address the starter stand. Green flag, we're racing at Darlington.
A lot of trust in these guys, Jeff. These guys have never seen this package on this racetrack. Remember, the package that we had last year, 550 package, way more downforce. These guys are going to have their hands full today.
Well, and we've seen where this first two turns, it's so unpredictable where we've seen some accidents happen on the opening lap. So great job. Well, we got one that's brushed the wall a little bit further back in the field. But otherwise, yeah, I agree, Clint. Great job by these drivers getting through this first lap.
Joey Logano with a big run there down the back straightaway. Had to back off. Wasn't enough asphalt for Denny Hamlin and Logano going into turn 3. William Byron gets to make the move on Logano as he had to check up for Hamlin. Tyler Reddick has already been against the wall. That's the first Darlington stripe of the day.
Real easy to do. This is down in 3 and 4, and he's right behind the 18 of Kyle Busch. Not a lot of air getting to the nose or the back of this car.
You can see it took off on it, but honestly, just a little kiss right there with the right rear. I think it'll be fine, Jeff. Didn't even hit the fender, so you won't have a tire cut or anything else.
Yeah, that could have been a whole lot worse. And I would say the same thing. I saw Ricky Stenhouse Jr. brush the wall down in 1 and 2, and it just barely got the fender on the right rear tire, so I think he might have got away with one also.
Well, guys, you talk about lack of downforce. Where they have to be careful, there's a little bit of flare in front of the right rear tire, and it generates a lot of side force and downforce. You knock that in with what little bit you have to begin with, it just absolutely kills that race car.
Not to mention, usually about 9 times out of 10, you're going to blow a right rear if you don't pit.
There's another throwback, 34, Michael McDowell. We saw Bill Elliott's car here making some laps, pace lap from his championship year of 1988.
And here comes Harvick for the lead on the inside at turn 4.
Right rear, all clear.
Keselowski crosses back.
Thinks twice about it.
Yeah.
This could be trouble for these competitors if Kevin Harvick goes up there and gets the lead, has that fresh air. We know how good he is here at this track.
Yeah, really picking up right where he left off last week. And when we talked to him, man, won 2 of the 3 races last year.
Kurt Busch, who is throwing back to last week's car, has a little issue.
Rub right rear, rub on the right rear. Tip forward, Goodyear still on the right rear. Just got the wheel opening evenly right there. We'll get pictures of it, but looks fine.
Eric Almirola has pounded the wall with a car that throws back to Mark Martin's Busch Series winning Ford Taurus at Texas in 2000.
I was so pulling for Eric Almirola and that paint scheme because I'm a huge Mark Martin fan, but I've never seen an impact like this where the splitter is up underneath the front tires and the front tires aren't even on the ground, Mike.
Huge hit. Usually when somebody hits that inside wall, they spin off the 2 and it's a massive impact. The wall's down quite a bit away from the racing surface and you get a pretty good run at it, as you can see with this 10 car right here.
Well, you saw that Richard Petty wreck in Put It Out when he hit the inside wall of what was then the front straightaway, but Almirola has hit it a ton.
Yeah, you can see he's already spun off at 2. Usually you have to see if he got into the outside wall first or if he had a car underneath of him. Man, that thing is hit hard.
And remember, he started at the back, so he was making some passes and trying to make his way up through the field as quickly as he possibly could. Both he and Chase Elliott, I saw both of them going back and forth through some of the slower cars that they were coming through.
I think he got loose and got some help right there. Looks like he kind of checked up to stay out of the wall, and I couldn't tell who was behind him, but I think they got into him.
Well, and how often do we see that happen here, Clint?
Absolutely.
You get a big run off of turn 2, and you think you can clear that wall, but then the next thing you know, you got to check up, and when you do, those cars behind you are coming with so much momentum.
Almirola had to start in the back because of failing inspection twice. Chase Elliott's team found that they had left a packer in the suspension, and to be able to remove it, that's an unapproved adjustment, so he had to go to the back. First caution of the day with 7 laps complete. Chuck Berry. You're going to see Eric Almirola come up off the corner, get loose, and that is Ricky Stenhouse right behind him. Stenhouse said on the radio, he said, I did get into him slightly, couldn't avoid him. Hard hit for Almirola.
Well, it just gives you an indication how fast these cars are coming off of that turn 2. You carry a lot of momentum through turns 1 and 2 on the gas hard, and boy, when you hit that inside wall, it shows it.
Let's check in our leader, Jamie.
Well, Mike, before the Xfinity race yesterday, track officials went to the choose cone and they actually moved it 5 feet closer to the infield to give drivers more of a chance on the outside, because in the truck series they were coming awfully close to the outside wall. Kevin Harvick just talked to his spotter, Tim Fedua, said, remind me of that all day long. Every time I have to choose, remind me. These drivers cannot hit that or they will be penalized.
Thanks, Jamie. Good point. You saw the old paint to the left and the new paint to the right. And the first few take the outside as we get ready for the first restart of the day. Let's have a look at today's Ford Performance Track Facts for Darlington. Kevin Harvick won 2 of 3 last season in his Stewart-Haas Mustang. Spring race number 1 of 2. And the famed Southern 500. Run every Labor Day weekend here. That new Mustang Wednesday looked pretty sharp among those next generation NASCAR cars that were unveiled.
I was so impressed with all of the next gen cars. The body styles are just fantastic. Just these cars just look fast. But yeah, you're right. That Ford Mustang looked really sharp, Mike.
Can't wait to see them on the racetrack. They're all going to look good. I think it's, you know, all indications, all the testing, everything, the drivers that I've talked to, everybody's digging on it, man. I think it's going to be a great car for us.
Brad Keselowski restarting on the outside of Kevin Harvick, and we'll give you a look at the next generation cars later in today's telecast. Keselowski without his regular crew chief, Jeremy Bullins, who is home due to team COVID protocol. Grant Hutchins calling the shot for the number 2 today as he lines up opposite Kevin Harvick for the restart. Green flag.
Hey, Jeff, you ever heard of that thing called the old Mo showing up, man? How about Kyle Busch pressed off that win?
Yeah, man, you get that win, and all of a sudden you're King Kong. You're like, yes, I can do this. I have not forgotten how to drive a race car at the best of the best of them, and Kyle Busch proved that last week, and this is a great track for him to prove it again.
Well, once they named it the Bushy McBush race, how could we not pick one of the Busch brothers?
Had to be, right?
Yep.
Wow, almost like a slide job right there, Truex. And then you can see those cars sliding around already. That's on fresh, brand new tires.
And you see Tyler Reddick with a great move right there, because Denny Hamlin got right to the rear bumper, the 2 Brad Keselowski, but then the car kind of got away from him, had to check up, and all the momentum from Tyler Reddick sent him on by it. Now he's going to the outside of the 2.
Yeah, Brad's in trouble right here. I don't know if he's made an adjustment there too loose or whatever.
Well, he's in trouble, and that 8 car is flying of Tyler Reddick. Oh, here's a battle for the lead, using the apron off of turn 2 for Kyle Busch.
But look at the momentum off that outside. It's going to be interesting. He's kind of taking Kevin's line away right there. Kevin typically likes to run that bottom, and he got underneath of him. But you can see Kevin still rolling. See that car loose already? Man, I love what I see right there.
That's what Darlington is all about right there.
Boy, a lot of fans cheering for Kyle Busch and a lot of fans showing you're number 1 to Kyle Busch, but he is the leader. Brad dropping back. Regan, what's up?
Well, Mike, he came on the radio a little while ago and said the race car is on the splitter extremely hard. That's the piece of valance across the front of the car. It's hitting it as it goes into the corner, making him lose grip with the front tires. Gets very loose after that, so he's got his hands full with Hamlin right now.
That splitter's so tricky here, and especially as this track has aged. Last year I had a really bad time with it, and it's off of 2 where those patches are. On the exit of 2, it gets rough over there. They made some patches. That thing will lay on that splitter. It's like a ski. Takes all the force off those tires. Got to get that fixed.
Jeff, in turn 4, Harvick actually waited on Martin Truex to make the pass, and then got back in the gas. He's in 3rd now.
Yeah, I saw Martin Truex Jr. had a great run on those 2 leaders when Kyle Busch made the pass for the lead on Kevin Harvick, and hit now. Look at Truex, who's so good at this racetrack, but he used that momentum we talked about. So the exit of these corners, it's really easy for you to lose the grip. You can push the car to the edge, and then if you go over that edge, you got to check up, and that opens up the door for somebody like Martin Truex Jr. to take that position away.
I want to go back to the splitter conversation just for a second. I want to clear something up. That's going to go away. Probably lower air pressure, lower the air down a little bit. As this thing builds up, you're going to need that on the long run. Look for that 2 car to probably be strong on a long run, but struggle on these short runs.
And one other thing I'll add to that, Clint, there's no perfect setting for that splitter at this racetrack, because turns 1 and 2, we've documented so many years now how much more sweeping and how much more speed you carry through that part of this racetrack in the banking. And down in 1 and 2, you're going to check up, slow down into turn 3. That splitter's not going to get pushed into the racetrack as much.
So, Larry, what can they do?
Yeah, if it stays in the racetrack the next 13 laps, I'll use our Ford Performance card to show you one adjustment that interim crew chief Grant Hutchins can do. What he can do, they have on the shock shaft right there, you see that's like a shim they can slide in there on the pit stop, and it just limits the travel. Now, when I'm saying a thin shim, I'm talking about thousands, just enough to get that splitter back up off the racetrack.
Thanks, Larry. 18 complete. Kyle Busch in front of Martin Truex, the Joe Gibbs teammates. Kevin Harvick, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, your top 5. kind of equal distance between all of them and most of the field. Single file sorting it out. Let's go to the garage and Jamie.
Eric Almirola brought out the first caution there. Eric, just a few laps under your belt. You were making your way through the 47. Said he just got loose, but what were those laps like?
We had a really fast Smithfield Ford Mustang. I was looking forward to today. Our 750 stuff has been really good. The lower downforce stuff, our high downforce 550 package, we've struggled. So I was looking forward to having a good day, and we had to start last. Had trouble getting through tech, and we were coming through the field pretty fast. We were a second faster than the next 10 or 15 cars in front of us. We were passing about a car a lap, and I got by the 47 in the middle, 1 and 2, and he hit the wall the lap before, and he waved me by getting into 1, and I got by him, and then at the exit of turn 2, I got a little bit tight and checked out of the throttle, and he just run me over and wrecked me. So. I don't know. It's just how our year's gone. It's been a horrible year. Had nothing but bad luck, and it's. I'm ready for it to turn around.
Tough break for Eric Almirola, who's out early today. Kyle Busch, your leader, about to set a personal record as Eric Almirola heads for an early exit at Darlington. Kyle Busch has brought out the second caution of the day, 1 lap shy of leading his 18,000th career lap. Now, you see a little debris there on the right rear. We were at first thinking it was the left rear tire that went down.
Well, that's because the left rear was down, but right there when he pulled the right rear off, you saw it was corded right there.
Yep. From the Goodyear aerial coverage, Martin Truex goes to make the pass.
And you feel that. He heard those cords starting to come apart on that thing, de-raveling. You can hear it hitting the fender wells, and you can see him check up. He did a great job, actually.
Unbelievable
Yeah, he
job.
didn't hit the wall very hard at all.
You can, I mean, when you get loose like that
with a flat tire,
getting into the corner, so hard to keep it out of the wall, and you know it's a tire that's down.
The worst part is he was 1 lap away from leading 18,000 laps, 17,999. That is the one that I could not take.
Well, he is still on the lead lap, but look at that tire. So while we're under caution, let's check with Larry for his credible.com race strategy.
Well, the drinking word of the day is going to be strategy. You never pass up an opportunity to put 4 fresh tires on. Never even think about putting 2. Whatever strategy you go with in the stage 2 and the final stage, you have to stick with it. Don't get cold feet and bail. And when we do get the green flag stops, try to be the first to hit pit road and take full advantage of 4 fresh Goodyear sticker tires.
Well, here they come, Jamie.
Kevin Harvick in the 4 says he has no rear grip. The front doesn't turn. It doesn't turn up the hill or down the hill. He wants some adjustments there in 4 tires. The leader, Martin Truex Jr., in a little bit tight to start, but it was freeing up nicely. Wants a little more front grip, but pretty happy with it overall, Regan.
Well, Tyler Reddick in that bright pink 8 car, he is too tight on entry, both ends of the racetrack. Also needs a tear off. Darlington's so bad about the windshields and getting them dirty on you. And the 11 at Denny Hamlin, that race car is too loose getting in. A little bit of brake shake already early for that car as well.
Martin Truex wins the race off pit road. Is anybody ever really happy here?
No. I tell you what, Tyler Reddick is right now. That was a great pit stop by his guys.
All right, Kyle Busch will get back on track and stay on the lead lap after this brings out the second caution of the day. And this will be the competition caution. The Xfinity more than fast moment from Kansas was Ryan Blaney using amazing control to avoid disaster with 2 laps left, proving it takes more than speed to succeed. Vote for this week's more than fast moment at Xfinity Racing on Twitter. Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR. In the late 40s, Harold Brasington went to Indianapolis. He said, we need a speedway like that in the South. And he built Darlington Raceway, pretty much with his own hands, and it opened in 1950. There's the Richard Petty crash you saw earlier that prompted the creation of the window net.
Look at the ride that guy's going for.
And look at that car driven by David Pearson to the checkered flag half a century ago. It's here today. An 86-year-old Hall of Famer, Leonard Wood, our sport's Thomas Edison, drove it today in the parade laps.
Sure enough is. It's exactly, what a good analogy. He is Thomas Edison, man. Stuff that guy pulled off. No wonder they won 99 times.
And counting. Coming green this time. Tyler Reddick on the outside in the most colorful car in the field. And we'll tell you that story as the day goes on.
Marty Robbins, he'd be happy today, wouldn't he?
And we're back under green. Dale Inman, another Hall of Famer, and Leonard Wood's contemporary, waved the green flag to start the race today.
I'll tell you what, Clint, that outside lane just really hard to get going with that inside lane. Those guys launch, get to turn one fast, but then that's when you start to see the outside lane really start to get the momentum back. Oh, Kevin Harvick had a big moment there off of turn 4.
Well, I said at the start of the race, I knew that this package was going to be a challenge. I mean, we watched this last year. I experienced it, Jeff, with 550 package, a lot of downforce. You take that downforce off, you give you horsepower, you got a whole nother animal that you're trying to tame. Getting into turn 3, I still think about that. A lot of braking, very hard on the braking. Car wants to get loose. These things wear out. You're going to see cars that are good on a takeoff, cars that are good on a long run. And right now, you need that long run speed. 2 cars working the inside well, William Byron and Chase Elliott. Remember, Elliott had to start in the back, and he fired off 20th on this restart. Byron restarted about 10th and is running right about there, but has been making a couple of moves there on Brad Keselowski. And there's Chase making a try on Ryan Newman.
And Mike, on that first caution, they brought the 9 car Chase Elliott to pit road for adjustments only, and then that caught them up, and they did 4 tires like everybody else that time.
See Brad right there, just keeps going backwards on these restarts. I can tell you, he does not want to see restarts. You get down on that splitter, it's so frustrating because the front end won't turn. You're trying to get around these bumps right here where William Byron is right there, trying to navigate around that, try to go under it, trying to go above it, find something that you can keep that splitter off the ground.
Plus, I'm sure that they want to be real careful with how much they try to raise that nose, because if you miss it the other way, it's going to be just as bad. Your car's going to handle just as bad if you start floating the nose and getting air packed underneath that splitter.
Prime example, first race out from the pandemic, we struggled, really struggled. My teammate Kevin Harvick won the race. We put his setup in, came right back and led both stages and led a lot of the race, the most laps of the race. So
watching 13th through 16th. Ryan Newman's throwback, the number 6, is one of the most interesting in the field, and it's authentic. Kohler, maker of 2-stroke engines and other small engines, is the sponsor. In 1976, they won a Sports Car Club of America D Sports Racing National Championship. Jeff Miller was the driver, and that was the paint scheme.
That's right in your wheelhouse, Mike.
Yes.
I knew you'd know something about that.
How about this phenomenal race that we have right? Oh, we got Newman completely sideways as he was trying to make that pass on Brad Keselowski. Now here comes the momentum. Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman. I was just about to say, look at these guys, 2 by 2. Newman gets down on the apron, tries to hold it down low and accelerate off the corner, but the back end steps out on him. And that's the other thing here, Clint. You don't want to upset those tires, right? You're already taxing them, putting them to the limits and heating those tires up. And when that right rear tire slides like that, it might take 2, 3, 5 laps even before your car and their balance starts to come back to you.
And you right there, balance is what I always try to focus on right here. You cannot be leaning on that right rear. You can't be leaning on the right front. You've got to have all 4 of them, babies. A good neutral balance on a really slick racetrack like this. The other thing, keep talking about the horsepower, the 750 package versus the 550 package. You drive these cars with the foot, your throttle a lot on a slick racetrack like this.
Watch William Byron here in the 24.
Oh, boys. Now, see, he tried to side draft the 3 of Austin Dillon and then turn off from that side draft to the apron, hoping he could clear him. He just didn't anticipate how loose that his car was going to get by doing that. Yeah. Very lucky for William Byron that car's still going in the right direction.
And Austin Dillon.
Yeah.
I guarantee, anytime you hear a car on the inside of him, you hear his pipes crackle and he's lifting like that, you look over thinking, uh-oh, here it comes.
I really love this paint scheme on William Byron's 24 car. We'll throw back to Neil Bonnet, Mike.
Yeah, when he drove for Bob Rahilly and Butch Mock, the number was 79, but that was the sponsor, Valvoline. And there is a look at their Pontiac, and Neil had quite a bit of success with them. Raymock, as the team was called, they were top engine builders and then became car owners in the NASCAR Cup Series. Nicely done.
Yeah, awesome. Austin Dillon's car right there. Look, Bass Pro Shop, the old logo. That's what's neat about this is the sponsors get involved too, right? They take it and throw back to their roots and their history as well, and see that on the old 3 Hot Rod.
And that is a Fireball Roberts paint scheme that dates back, about 6 decades. That black and gold. 38 laps complete as we take you through the years with our Fox Hangar Shoot in Daytona. Martin Truex leading at 43 laps. Still time to enter Clint's Fox Bet Super Sticks Stage 2 contest for your chance to win part of $10,000 of Clint's money. Just download the app and pick 6 race outcomes about Stage 2. Here they are for your shot to win. It's free to play. Don't miss out and play now while you still have time before the end of Stage 1.
Come and get it. 10,000, man. I hope old mom gets it today, right? On Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Denny Hamlin rim riding around Kevin Harvick. That's 3rd place. Let's drop back to 7th place. A driver that came in here with a lot of fans having high hopes for Kyle Larson. Jamie.
Yes, Kyle Larson up 7 positions, but after the drop of the green flag, he told the team something was going on with the visor, like one of the screws was coming out. He asked for a flathead screwdriver on that last stop. They handed it to him. Haven't heard if he was able to fix it. As far as the car, though, he's got his hands full, really loose, hard to turn, needs better turn through the corner. They already made one chassis adjustment, looking for more. next stop.
He is currently 7th, and his lap times within a 10th and a half of the leader. There's Chase Elliott in 12th, chasing Austin Dillon.
Struggling a little bit there, Jeff. I didn't think that would have been the update we got. Just need a screwdriver. The visors off a little bit more. It should be fine.
It's not an adjustment I've ever heard of.
Larson's wife, Caitlin, told Claire B. Lang a great story on the radio this week about when their son was going racing, and he had a little crash, bent the car a little, and she's in there with a wrench trying to pull the bumper off and get the spindle. He's going, don't do that. You're going to make me look bad. He says, I don't know how to work on these things. Well, you know what? He learned in a hurry, and they got him back out there.
Hey, I tell you what, she's a hand. She can weld, she can do all sorts of stuff.
How about that?
Her family's been in racing for a long time.
Right.
But listen, when you can wheel it like Kyle Larson, you might not have to worry about getting a wrench.
That's a good point. All right. Christopher Bell moving up to 12th on Austin Dillon. Martin Truex has a semi-throwback paint scheme. He and the team decided to paint that car all flat black, reminiscent of his championship-winning cars with Furniture Row Racing, the Barney Visters team out in Denver, Colorado.
Tell you what, Joe Gibbs and those Toyotas looking pretty strong here as Christopher Bell making the slide job there on the 9 of Chase Elliott off of turn 4.
I think Chase was showing a little displeasure right there.
They had a little contact on pit road last time, but I looked closely at the nose of Elliott's car, didn't see any damage.
They just had some on the racetrack.
13th place. And for 14th, here comes Chris Buescher to the inside of Austin Dillon. This is one of Dillon's better racetracks, but he's racing the racetrack right now.
Well, and his teammate Tyler Reddick up there in 2nd, so they could be just maybe adjustment or a couple air pressure adjustments away from getting that car dialed in like his teammates. Look at Chris Buescher all the way, all 4 tires on the apron coming off of turn 2 over there.
And behind them comes Eric Jones. And I agree, one of the greatest retro paint schemes here. This honors John Andretti's Martinsville win for King Richard Petty. And we fondly remember John and the hashtag check it for Andretti.
Yeah, absolutely.
And boy, I remember that car that day in Martinsville driving right by me on the long runs, Mike, to go on to Victor Lane. That was just a great day for Petty, great day for the Andretti family, and certainly a great moment for John Andretti.
And we lost John, unfortunately, to cancer, and encourage everyone to get it checked out. Here is Cole Custer with a Happy Mother's Day scheme on his car, team owner Gene Haas. You know, when you have a 4-car team, you need to designate a different owner for each car number, and he designated his mom, Margaret, as the owner of the number 41 then. So happy Mother's Day to all the moms.
Boy, here comes Denny Hamlin in a hurry. I've been watching his lap times. He's been the fastest car on the track. About the last 10 laps, I'd say over average, he's been the best car.
And it wasn't 20 laps ago. We were just talking about him struggling on a restart. That's what I was talking about. You got to have good front side speed so you don't give up too much position, but you have to have a long run hot rod here. And he runs this outside line so smooth. And I think that's where all of his long run speed is his ability to be right up against the wall without hitting it.
And you just saw the difference between new tires and old tires. Denny Hamlin on those old tires. You saw Cole Custer just came down pit road, got 4 fresh Goodyears, and he absolutely blew by Hamlin through that turn, through turns 3 and 4.
All right, let's try to get a little insight on race strategy, and let's pick up some radio chatter from the top 4 teams, starting with Martin Truex, number 19.
Same as before, just freeing up as I go here. It started off a little bit freer than it was. Freeing up center 1 and 2 and all the way off, then off 4. Do you need to tighten up the same everywhere or more one end than the other? Both ends equally, maybe 3 and 4 a little more. It still seems to be about 1.5 tight and 1 and 2, 1.5 loose, 3 and 4. Just for me, saying that tight is under braking through 1 and 2. Remember your brake bias. got to take a big swing at the loose. I like our mean a big swing. What did you say, Timmy? Needs a big swing.
A big swing at the loose for Harvick. Teammates. As Alex Bowman works his way past Chase Elliott. This will be for 12th place. With 56 laps complete. Might be pit stops before too long if the teams decide to split the rest of stage 1 in equal halves. Green flag pit stops have begun. Kevin Harvick was the first to come in. Here's the leader, Jamie.
We'll see up to 10 pit stops today. This is the second one for Martin Truex Jr. He said it is so slippery out there. He couldn't believe how slow it felt. Happy to get these 4 fresh Goodyears on there right now, Regan.
Well, Denny Hamlin having much of the same problem right now. Said, I need more rear grip in this race car. Really struggling to find something for the exit of the corners on the 11 car right now.
Tyler Reddick will surrender the lead to come in. Marty Robbins was a great country and western and pop singer. Had a lot of hits. His hobby, he wanted to go racing, and he drove a Cotton Owens Dodge to good success. He had 1 top 5 in the Cup Series. Loved to race and hang around racers. There's more to this story later. Regan.
Tyler Reddick's team so excited today about this race because of his ability to run the top side of the racetrack as well as his ability on these low grip racetracks. Right now you heard him just a minute ago saying that that race car is still too tight, especially under braking right now.
Dave Blaney completing his stop in a car that throws back to one of the late models that he raced for his dad. And so Ross Chastain in a Junior Johnson Hut Strickland driven paint job. Same color, same sponsor, same number 2. That car was 27. Chastain, of course, is 42. He's your leader from Alex Bowman. And Kurt Busch. Jamie.
It was interesting. It was about 35 laps after they last pitted. All the drivers together started complaining about no grip. 48, same situation. Throwback paint scheme to his crew chief. Pretty cool colors there. He used to race up in the modifieds in Michigan. Nice throwback there. 4 tires stop for Alex Bowman.
We knew, Jeff, you and I talked about this down in pre-race. We knew these guys were going to have their hands full. I take it right back to the package. I don't know. I don't like calling it package, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. High horsepower, low downforce equals not much grip and your hands full.
And daytime 132-degree track temp right now.
So the Ganassi cars are 1-2, but Larry, they're giving up, what, 2 seconds to these 2 seconds a lap to the drivers who have fresh tires now?
Yeah, it's even more than that, Mike. It's pushing close to 3 seconds. So the only way this works out is if you get a caution. It's the only way it'll work out. The problem with Kurt Busch in the one, he's coming to get his third set of tires. They only had 10 total sitting in the pits, and we're not even the end of stage one.
So why on earth would you go down that strategy? You go down that strategy because coming on the pit road, it's one of the most challenging pit roads there is. There's a chance that somebody could spin out, and there's your caution right in your lap.
Regan?
Well, Kurt Busch desperately in need of a good run right now to stop the bleeding, as his team said earlier today. That race car is still wrecking loose for him. They haven't been able to get the handle on it as he's taken 4 tires right now.
You saw right there on that pit stop for Kurt Busch, a little Darlington stripe around that right rear fender.
Now, I joked earlier about his paint job. Not every team is doing a throwback on throwback weekend as it shifts from what was the Southern 500 now to the May Darlington race. NASCAR decided that with Darlington starting the playoffs this fall, that teams and sponsors wanted to concentrate on that and move the throwback to this weekend. So hopefully next year we'll get more participation for NASCAR's annual throwback when it happens again in the spring.
You know, Mike, when I look at this 42 car, Ross Chastain is crew chief field surgeon. If you've went this far, you've almost made your bed now, because we've got 23 laps to go until the end of stage one. They're running him down over 2 seconds a lap. All they can do is hopefully try to stay on the lead lap by doing this. I think to pit now, it would make no sense.
The other thing that makes it hard is the math works when you're just out there running laps by yourself. You see Cole Custer going underneath of him right there. Every time you let one go, you give up more time, more time, more time. And all of a sudden, the math is not working out in your favor at all.
And you bring up a great point, Clint, that when you're doing the math, right, and the teams are strategizing leading into this, you know how much fall off your car has if you were all by yourself. But it's so hard to predict it when there's other cars around. You're having to deal with traffic, let other cars go, and you lose so much more time doing this strategy on these old tires, especially around Darlington.
21 laps to go in stage one. So it's about 3/4 of a straightaway before Martin Truex, who's back up to second place, catches Ross Chastain. You'll see it all as we go, Fox, side by side, with 69 of 293 laps complete. You know you're at a big event when the Goodyear blimp shows up. They're providing today's aerial coverage. Today's a throwback to honor the history we made together. Goodyear, the official tire of the Goodyear 400.
Mike, that Goodyear blimp, that's like the next gen of Goodyear blimps.
Yeah.
That baby looks nice.
It's fast. Look how it's
that's
way
gorgeous.
sleeker.
Sharp.
Tail number N2A, Wingfoot 2. You see that over the biggest sporting events in America.
Sure do.
Bubba Wallace on the tail end there of the lead lap. Martin Truex right in his draft.
And we're talking tippy tail. Don't look farther back. He is coming and coming quick.
The only thing that advantage that Bubba has right now, which it might go away right here because Truex has the outside, is he did come in a couple laps later than Martin Truex Jr. So those tires are a little bit fresher, Jamie.
Yeah, he's had his hands full. His biggest complaint is no front turn, which we've heard from a lot of drivers. But Mike Wheeler, his crew chief, took a different approach for this race. They don't do it every time, but they mirrored Denny Hamlin, team owner's setup, and said, we're going to put this on, and you're just going to have to figure out how to drive it. Watch video of Denny and what he does with it. So far, it's not helping, but he's hanging on, and they've been adjusting.
Woo!
You don't often
battle.
see 3 wide here, but there it was.
You got to be so careful, Martin Truex right here. These guys are all racing for save their lives, save their day, to stay on that lead lap. They could get into one another and ruin your day, so be very careful. Look at that 3 wide. He does not like what he sees in his windshield right now.
Well, yeah, it's risk versus reward, right? These guys are desperate to stay on the lead lap, so they're willing to risk it. If you're Martin Truex Jr., you got a whole race ahead of you as the leader.
And he's being pretty patient with them. He's letting them race it out, get sorted out, and then he can pick them off one at a time. You don't want to pick them off 3 at a time, 3 wide in front of you.
Yeah, he's got a couple of cars between himself and Denny Hamlin. The second place car, then Harvick, Reddick, and Larson, the rest of the top 5. Truex now racing the racetrack, giving those cars some room. Hamlin boxed in just a little bit by Kurt Busch here and goes to the outside of Cole Custer. There's the gap, first to second.
Well, and if you're Denny Hamlin, you want to take advantage of this lap traffic that you're in, that you see the leader, your teammate out there in front of you navigating through. You know he might be a little more conservative because they're going to fight the leader more than they're going to fight somebody like Denny Hamlin, or if you're in 3rd, 4th, 5th position. So Denny's closing that gap nicely right now on our leader Martin Truex Jr. because of it.
Now Austin Dillon has gone a lap down. And Chastain, to follow up on him, he still has not pitted. He has fallen to 10th place. 11 laps to go in stage 1. Matt DiBenedetto is about 5 seconds further back, trying to take that last stage point away from Chastain.
And Mike, as concerned as I was with what I was seeing on the lap times, that he was going to be able to stay on the lead lap with 10 to go, he's about a half a lap down. As long as lap cars kind of keep fighting Truex, our leader in the 19, I think he will at least stay on the lead lap.
Now it looks like Martin Truex is in no hurry to lap his Joe Gibbs teammate, Kyle Busch.
No,
Took the words out of my mouth, Mike.
And that's okay. That's all part of strategy. Take a drink, Larry says.
Meanwhile, these other two, Stenhouse and Bubba, man, they're racing hard to try to stay on that lead lap. Just 9 more.
I don't know how much more time he can fight this, because now you can see the handling of that number 23 car starting to go away. Oh man, he pitches Martin Truex Jr.
Just
up
about
into the wall.
put him in the wall. And now the 47s.
I don't know. Did Truex scrape the wall there? It was really close. If not,
I think the 47 may have, or he bailed out of the gas enough to where they all about ran him over.
Well, now back to Ross Chastain. He was 10th before green flag pit stop started. So if he stays on the lead lap to save a set of tires, well, that may work out well for him. As for Truex, hard to tell in the shadows there.
that's as close as you can get without touching it.
It's enough that I can promise you he's not going to waste any more time with him.
I can tell you one thing: his heart rate's gone up because he's not real thrilled with some of the moves. Nothing that Bubba's doing wrong. Bubba's got to do this.
He's
absolutely. But when you're the leader, you do want these guys to think about what's at stake there.
And that 23 is a Gibbs affiliate team. But still, that can't be on the top of Truex's mind. He's got to go.
And that's not on Bubba Wallace's mind right now either. Keselowski, man, continues to struggle.
6.5 to go in stage 1.
Wow. And that's going to open up the door for Brad Keselowski. He doesn't have the preferred line here.
I don't think he's going to get him.
And Denny Hamlin stays about 1 second behind Truex. And under no threat, Kevin Harvick, you see there, is 5 seconds back.
He's going to have to get going, though, because Denny Hamlin, you can see Bubba's still and he's holding on.
He is working hard in that Wendell Scott paint scheme number 23. Want to see loose?
Woohoo!
There's a lot of it. Here's some Martin Truex team audio.
If you tell the 23, you better get it together. Yep, copy that.
We've seen this Martin Truex Jr. before.
Oh, yeah.
He gets fired up, man. He's so competitive, and when he's up front there on Harrison's door, it's going to open up.
Now.
Yep.
Message delivered.
Yeah.
So Bubba now needs to stay ahead of Kurt Busch to get the free pass when the stage ends 4 laps from now.
Well, I don't know what just happened with that car. That they flew by, but somebody down the apron had some big issues.
Tyler Reddick. So the rest of the Marty Robbins story, he liked to run Daytona and Talladega. And I asked him once in my radio days, he's hanging out, after the race one night, and I said, Marty, magenta and chartreuse, those are 2 colors that don't go together. Why is your car painted like that? He says, look, this is my fun, my hobby. I do this because I enjoy it. I'm not the best driver out there. So when those guys come up on me at Daytona and Talladega at 200 miles an hour, I want them to be certain it's me that they're pulling up on and about to pass.
I'd say Richard Shelley.
And they were.
Upon further review with the 42 car and Ross Chastain, it's going to be so borderline. His best friend right now is Kyle Busch in that 18 car because Kyle is the next car to go a lap down. In fact, he's about to go a lap down right now, Ross Chastain. So it just about 2 laps shy of at least something good coming out of it.
And 2 laps is pit road closed for the last 2 laps of the stage, so he can't pit now.
And this isn't going to work either because there goes Bubba Wallace, who's a lap down, so he's not even going to get the free pass.
Well, it all just came undone, didn't it?
But it was close. It was a strategy that they almost made work with 2 laps to go.
Jeff, if close would have worked, I wouldn't have lost 447 races.
You bring up Marty Robbins. Richard Childress used to tell stories all the time. He'd go back to the motel after the race, and he'd get the guitar out and play around the pool for all the guys. That would have been a cool thing. Today's day and age, all you get's my partner over here wanting to DJ.
Oh, look at that slide by our leader coming to finish out this final lap.
Green and white checkers in the air, and Martin Truex has his 5th stage win at Darlington.
He's going to have his hands full. His teammates, slowly but surely, I think we got a race on our hands right there. Raddick's right there, Larson, these guys shaping up to get interesting after this pit stop.
And that stage win didn't come easy for Martin Truex Jr. He was having to work hard for it.
Martin Truex, 5th stage win at Darlington. Twice he has swept both race stages here. Darlington County, where NASCAR's history meets its future. It was no accident that NASCAR's next generation car was unveiled this week, just before we returned to NASCAR's most historic speedway. Pit road's open, and here they come, Jamie.
Well, Kevin Harvick's still fighting. His car said, you tightened me up, but you did nothing for my rear grip. The front end just not good. Now they'll go back on those adjustments. The 5 of Kyle Larson, they're on the other side of it now. They started out really tight today. Now they're on the free side, so they're going in the right direction. The 19, coming off his 3rd consecutive stage win here at Darlington, said he's building a little too free, but overall, pretty good. Regan.
Denny Hamlin's car, a little damage on the right rear that they wanted to fix. That race car started loose and stayed loose. The last adjustments helped him out a little bit. And Tyler Reddick again brushed the wall as well. He can't move around. He's stuck up on the top with his race car too loose.
Here's the Ram race off pit road. Truex, Hamlin, and then a crowd of them, 3 abreast. Coming to the end, I believe Martin did get 4 tires. We'll correct that.
Man, I hope he did.
Yes. Look at those Goodyear blue streaks. That is pretty sharp. Part of Throwback Weekend and the Goodyear 400. Those were the tires we raced on in the 60s and 70s.
Hey, Martin, Jeff, Clint, Mike up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, man, I love this throwback matte black paint scheme to 2016. Well, for us, we're thinking about 16 because it's the last time you won here. But, man, that was not an easy stage to win. You're dealing with lap traffic and that car sliding around. Tell us what you got.
Yeah, it's surprisingly low grip. I mean, I guess, we all knew it'd be slick, daytime racing, and going back to this low downforce. But, holy cow, I'm going to tell you, it's a lot slicker than I even anticipated. So it's been fun so far. Guys in the Auto Owners Toyota have been doing a good job. And, just keep tuning on it here and hopefully keep it up front. But it's been fun so far.
Well, thanks for talking to us. I know hard work for you guys, but we're certainly enjoying it up here.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun in here as well. So.
Martin Truex is your stage winner. The speeding police are here from nearby McBee. Who did they nab after this? Bye.
So we just talked about Kyle Larson having a pit road speeding penalty. Of course, Kyle Larson, his paint scheme this week is a throwback to his very first go-kart. That was back in 1999, as you see on your vision board. Again, Kyle Larson, one of those drivers that already has a win this year, won at Las Vegas earlier this season. And was running inside of the top 5, however, got busted for speeding that pit road, so he has dropped to the leader for this restart. But it's a paint scheme that Kyle Larson is still this afternoon.
Get to know the local NASCAR home tracks across North America with the Advance My Track Challenge. Visit advancemytrack.com. View each track's stories and vote for the track of your choice to be the 2021 Advance My Track Challenge winner. There are 2 towns north of Darlington for whom race weekends are great revenue generators. The speeding police are out in McBee and Society Hill, and they've got one on our first pit stop under the end of stage of the day, and it is Kyle Larson who was too fast exiting his pit box. So he'll restart tail end.
Mike, I drove down here from Charlotte last night. I saw a sign that said 10 miles to McBee. I just started slowing down right away.
They give you plenty of warning, Jeff. And,
I've never got one in McBee, but Society Hill, I've been nabbed there. I told him I was just fresh off the racetrack, sir, and that didn't work.
No. Like, this is not a racetrack, son.
I told him I was Jeff Gordon first. That didn't work.
No, that doesn't work.
Kurt Busch got the free pass. He was the first car 1 lap down. Kyle Busch stayed on the lead lap and will restart 11th. Ross Chastain will be the first car 1 lap down when we restart. 17 lead lap cars with Truex and Hamlin on the front row. Reddick and Harvick on row 2, and we'll listen in on Tyler Reddick's team on this restart. Magenta and Chartreuse.
Can't miss it.
Don't go together, but boy, they look good on that race car. Shades of Marty Robbins and Cotton Owens.
Ready.
Green flag.
Green. Great start. Stay tight on him. Half back 22. Here comes the 22. Don't let him switch it. Still inside. Still down there. Bumper. You're clear.
Here, Kevin Harvick playing with that throttle. That's what I love about less downforce and all that power. You're going to hear a lot more of throttle control. That's why we say it's a driver's track. Today, drivers having to do a lot more work.
Yeah, what that is, you lift not because usually with a 550 package you lift because you lose the front end, you're going to hit the wall. Now you're lifting to keep those tires underneath that, you keep them spinning them.
You saw it right there, the back end almost came out from underneath Kevin Harvick as he went down the apron going into 1.
And here comes Joey Logano into play. Regan.
Well, Joey Logano, you see him. He's been moving up through the field in 4th position right now, but not very heavy as we got a caution on the racetrack.
Wow.
Boy, so reminiscent of his teammate
exactly
Eric Almirola.
like
Cole Custer heavy into that back straightaway wall.
Lap 99, 4th caution of the day. Hard hit for Cole Custer. Now, he and Anthony Alfredo had contact prior to the crash. Same spot as his teammate Eric Almirola back on lap 6. This happens coming off turn 2. The AMR safety team very quickly on the scene to check on Cole. and the damage looking very similar. His front tires are off the ground, just like Almirola's after a very similar hit. Cole Custer climbs out. Very top of the screen, the white and orange car.
Alfredo's already loose. When Half comes down, he's going to collect Cole Custer, just an innocent bystander. Tries to lock up the brakes here. Man, wow. Look at that safer barrier. Take that impact.
Shot right there.
Man, that time that car went up on 2 wheels.
And it landed in his lap. I mean, there is nothing that Cole Custer could do different there. These guys, Anthony Alfredo was big time loose. That's really where the wreck started, and unfortunately, it ended with Cole.
And Cole really couldn't even see him because Daniel Suarez was to his outside. I don't even know if Cole could see that this was happening ahead of him, where Alfredo was sideways and coming down the racetrack.
A lot of damage to the left rear of Alfredo's car too, right there. Man.
Cole Custer climbed out okay, and the wreckers go to work.
Gene's had a bad day.
2 for 4, same spot. Get ready for the biggest season ever. No, not NASCAR. With the release of the 2021 NFL schedule Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on FS1 and the NFL Network. It's the first look at the entire 17-game regular season. Plus, starting Wednesday, you can purchase single game tickets at NFL.com/tickets.
I want another shot at that right there. One more time.
Yeah, well, I want another shot the year before.
Oh, you didn't have a chance.
Still want a shot. Beat my Niners. That was pretty incredible what Tom Brady did. What he's done in his career to we talk about it in NASCAR all the time, right? You leave a team, you go somewhere else, new crew chief, whatever change happens. If you have success under that, it just shows your commitment, your talent, how difficult that is to do.
Anthony Alfredo into Cole Custer into their safer barrier on the back straightaway and out of the race.
Sunday. By the way, happy Mom's Day to all of the moms out there. I have a feeling we're probably at a picnic or two across the country. Dave Mooney and my family there in the coach today, up and down pit road, Steve Colson.
102 laps complete in the Goodyear 400 at Darlington. And let's crank up the Wayback Machine and go back 51 years ago today. That is Richard Petty's 1970 Plymouth. 153 miles an hour was the pole for that race, so he comes off the corner at about 130. Hits the inside wall, displacing concrete blocks. His arm and head are actually out of the car as it's tumbling over and over. The next week, the next race, his mother Elizabeth had sewn a window net they put in the car. And more recently, NASCAR has instituted safer barriers on the outside and inside.
Yeah,
but most all of these racetracks.
What a difference in the purpose of that window net then versus now. Then it was to keep your driver inside of it. Now it's to keep everything from hitting your driver on the inside.
Yeah.
Man, what a hit. That's still to this day the scariest wreck I ever seen. We all talk about, you know, in racing, Mike, you knock the wall down. That's what everybody says, right? You hit the wall as a driver's
wall
talking.
didn't move.
Yeah, he literally knocked the wall down.
Yes, he did. And then went right back to racing. Regan.
Well, just to finish updating the 22 of Joey Logano, Mike, that race car has been too tight for him. He can't get the front tires to work. That was part of the plan at the start of the day, though. Paul Wolf mentioned that if he keeps him a little on the snug side, it's going to be easier for Joey to manage that throttle. So got to imagine that's where they want it right now.
Joey racing a Mario Andretti throwback scheme. We'll explain in a bit as we're ready for the restart right now. Truex and Hamlin Toyotas on the front row. Reddick's Camaro, Logano's Mustang as the Ford Mustang Mach 1 pace car hits pit road. We're ready for stage 2 to resume at 104 laps.
Oh, he was almost under him right there. Had to bail out of the gas. Now he's going to get passed by Denny Hamlin there. Talking about.
Yeah, Truex really checked up in the middle, turns 1 and 2 on that restart. And that allowed Joey Logano to close the gap.
Cole Custer has been checked and released from the infield care center and out of the race. Jamie.
It was a big hit for Cole Custer. First off, Cole, are you okay? And second, I know you had your hands full. What were you up against?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. But we were really loose. One of the loosest cars I've driven, but it was fun slipping inside him. But man, I wish we could have given Margaret Hawes a little bit of a better run. I was really looking forward to this race, and we just couldn't make it happen. And they just all checked up in front of us and all ran into us. So we'll get them next week, but definitely frustrated.
Thanks, Cole. Caution is out, Mike.
Kurt Busch is frustrated after pounding the inside of the front stretch wall and his right front not touching the ground.
Well, you can see a little bit of damage on the right rear. Ooh, now the fire.
Oil line just.
This seems to happen frequently to the number 1 car.
That is not something you want to have happen on a regular basis.
Let's see what happened here as Kurt gets ready to climb out.
Well, you can see he's underneath. Is that De Benedetto there?
Yes.
Yeah, the car, boy, it just gets loose.
Been there, done that.
The blue car, which may have been Stenhouse, just might have nicked him as he came around. Hard to say.
Yeah, and he had
Actually,
Bubba Wallace behind him. Ooh, did they make contact?
Bubba did hit him. So what happens there, you're leaning on your car, pulling on that wheel, trying to stay off that car on the outside of you. The closer you get to him, the looser your car gets as it takes air off of your spoiler. And then all of a sudden you get loose, and you know, unfortunately Bubba got into him just at least a little bit, turned him all around.
And those were the two drivers fighting for the free pass position.
It's funny how that
Wallace
works.
and Busch.
I don't think that wasn't. I'm not going to put that on Bubba though. I really not. That's good hard racing for that position. He got sideways and Bubba just barely clipped the right rear corner, and you can see the damage.
And you fight hard for that position right there if you're Kurt Busch, because if you could just stay at their left rear tire, then you have positions. You go down, you got kind of that preferred line going down into turn one, where usually there's some give and take, although today we haven't seen a whole lot of that. But if Kurt, you know, could do that slide, not get out of the throttle too much, not lose all the momentum, side draft the left rear to Benedetto, and he might make that pass into the next corner.
That position of passing Benedetto is the insurance you need. You need to get that position in between you and Bubba so you can get out there. That's why you're pushing that hard.
So let's listen in on Matt D as he talks about the one car.
Woo, that was tight. He just kept coming up the track.
Yeah, he paid for it.
Yeah, I gave him all the room I could. I was
10-4, man.
Yeah, you can feel, you're Matt DiBenedetto, you can feel the air packing inside that window. It changes direction, all of a sudden starts coming in there as that car gets sideways, and then you feel your car start to move around. So even though you don't really have much of a mirror to look at that, you can feel it as a race car driver.
Bubba Wallace will get the free pass as the caution comes out for Kurt Busch at lap 107.
Great looking tribute and paint scheme to Wendell Scott on the side of Bubba Wallace's root color camera this afternoon. We even got the correct tone of blue. So a really cool looking paint scheme, and again paying tribute back to Wendell Scott. His first race back in 1966. Another one here on the Virginia Board. Getting loose and getting into the inside behind the wall. Now we're actually learning that NASCAR is not going to give the free pass to Bubba Wallace because he was involved in the accident. He mentioned there was some contact between him and Matthew Bedell, so Bubba Wallace will not get the free pass into his crossing line. On lap 109, Martin Truex Jr. is still the leader. Denny Hamlin runs in second. Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick, and Paul Harder are your top five. Looking down towards pit road, pits are still closed. Mentioned Joey Logano running inside of the top five. He's on third right now. Of course, Joey Logano, you still got to see this is to the Mario Andretti machine, his first F1 victory back in 1971. There you see it on your vision screen. The Jack Panther machine of Joey Logano. Going back to Mario Andretti, 1971. There's so many cool looking paint schemes this weekend. All throughout for that weekend here in Darlington, we saw plenty of them in the Campbell Truck Series race on Friday night. Saturday, yesterday afternoon, we saw a lot of them as well. And here in the Cup race on Sunday, Joey Logano, one of the many teams, they're doing a very nice job with their pro ride costumes this weekend.
All this month, fans who are vaccinated or pledged to make a COVID vaccine appointment can visit NASCAR.com/VAX and enter to win tickets to the next Daytona 500. To register for a vaccine appointment, visit vaccines.gov or text your zip code to GetVax 438829. John Lennon once said if they ever had to rename rock and roll, they should just call it Chuck Berry. Jamie.
They decided to come in. It's been about 16 laps since they last pitted. The 19 says that it's a little bit freer than last run. The 4, Kevin Harvick, real tight in traffic, just so bad, he says. Not so bad for a guy who's been running top 5 so far, Regan.
Well, the 8 car, Tyler Reddick, asking for a bag of ice already. It's so warm out there on the racetrack. That car's struggling in dirty air right now. He really wants some track position for it. And the 22 of Joey Logano still looking for that front turn that we just talked about a minute ago. They wanted 4 tires to try and help that.
So Martin Truex wins the race off pit road, but what about Denny Hamlin, who stayed out?
They come ball. Couldn't make it. Everybody came 10-4 late. I'm really surprised they did it, to be honest with you. I know. Just got to plan ahead. You know, as long as I know, I can make the call.
I mean, as much fall off as there is in these tires, I don't even think it's a question.
Jeff, it was only 3 to 4 green flag laps.
Yeah.
3 to 4 green flag laps.
The only thing is the number of sets. I mean, if we get a lot of cautions like what we're trying to see, what we're starting to see right now, that would pay off. But man, he's going to get eaten up by these guys with newer tires. Yeah, I see. You know, Martin Truex Jr. made a late call.
Yeah.
And that kind of left Denny out.
So Christopher Bell, Clint, too fast exiting. The Society Hill police got him, I guess. Or was it the McBee police?
Was it McBee or is it MacBee?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got in trouble for that one, boys. I think it's MacBee, but I don't know. Is it McDonald's or McDonald's?
No. The people who don't get tickets call it MacBee. Jamie.
Well, Kurt Busch has been checked and released. His day has ended in a ball of flames, Kurt, unfortunately. What happened between you and Bubba Wallace?
There's no give and take. Ran out of racetrack, and he's fighting hard for the lucky dog, but we got turned, and our car isn't doing what it needs to do in traffic, and I can't be aggressive. And as soon as you check up just a little bit, there's no give and take right now. Everybody's just going for it, and we ended up on the bad end of it again.
Thanks, Kurt. Mike?
35th place finish today for Kurt Busch. Now, Bubba Wallace was in the free pass position. However, NASCAR judged he was involved in the accident, and so there will be no free pass.
Well, and I want to get some clarification on that. We've talked to NASCAR about this, you know, a little bit in the past about, okay, being involved. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that call. I think Bubba Wallace, and you just heard from Kurt Busch, you know, he ran out of real estate. They're both fighting for it, but it's not like Bubba did anything intentional. I mean, if anything, he might have been trying to avoid him and made contact, unintentional contact. I don't know if he shouldn't get his, you know, get a lap back because of it.
I was shocked. We both were. We were shocked to hear them take that from him, because I agree. Kurt was loose underneath him. You heard Matt Dennebedo say that he was loose underneath of him, and unfortunately he did get into him, but it wasn't like he got into him and knocked him out. He was coming back into him loose.
Dover next week, and then we're going road racing.
Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. What a city, what a track. In 2 weeks, this world-class road course welcomes the premier racing series in America for the very first time. Don't miss this introduction, only on FS1.
I love this place. It was sketched out as a combination of some of the greatest corners of Formula One tracks around the world. And it is tough to drive, and it is fun.
Oh, I can't wait to go there. Austin, a great town, great, you know, entertaining town. And man, I've been to this track to watch some Formula One races. Cannot wait to see NASCAR go there.
I can't wait to see the fans see NASCAR go there. You know, it's been so fun to introduce some new racing this year. You know, the Bristol Dirt Race, being able to go there and add that track to our schedule is such a big thing for all of us.
17 cars on the lead lap back to Christopher Bell. Pace cars in. Hamlin and Briscoe, who got the free pass 2 cautions ago, to lead them back to green. Neither stopped under this caution.
There's your fresh tires versus old tires. I don't care if you have 3 laps on those tires. Man, all it takes is 1 lap on these Goodyears before at this tough racetrack for them to fall off. And boy, Chase Briscoe just trying his best to hold on tight right here.
Yeah, in a very vulnerable spot. He's going to have to try to find somewhat of a hole that he can kind of get in and ride and get in a position on the racetrack where he can't put himself in harm's way and add a 3rd car to the list of being knocked out.
I don't think Johnny Klossmeyer, crew chief for Chase Briscoe, had a choice on that. They had pitted the caution before. They've already used 5 sets of their tires, and we're not even halfway.
Yeah, you're right, Larry. Basically, if you've gone through that many sets, you're right. You have no choice.
3rd place here. Joey Logano's car this week is Ferrari red. Mario Andretti won his first ever Formula One race in the South African Grand Prix in 1971 in a red car with white roundels. Ferrari had 3 flat 12-cylinder Formula One cars in that race. Jackie Eakes in the 4, Clay Regazzoni in the 5, and the team newcomer Mario Andretti in the 6, who went to victory lane with Shell sponsorship. And there is the car.
Hey, anything throws it back to my hero, Mario Andretti. Darn right.
Yes,
1971, that was a good year, Boyer.
It was?
Yeah, it was the year I was born.
Well, Logano tried the inside, and Denny Hamlin picked up the pace.
Well, hey, I'll give Denny Hamlin some credit on those older tires to be able to hang tight like this, and hold off the 22 car with fresher tires. That's pretty impressive.
Now there's your Joe Gibbs Racing running order as Hamlin moves from 2nd to 3rd, and Kyle Busch tries to pick up that 3rd spot. For more on Joe Gibbs Racing, here's Larry.
Yeah, we're going to look at the subway right combination. That would be Joe Gibbs Racing and Darlington Raceway. 8 total wins with 6 different drivers. They've actually won 6 of the last 10 trips here to Darlington. And 3 of the 4 current Joe Gibbs drivers, they actually have a Darlington win for a combined total of 5 wins. And Joe Gibbs Racing, they have 3 1-2 finishes at Darlington. Could the right combination give them their 9th win and maybe the 4th 1-2 finish for the coach, Mike?
Well, we'll see, because right now they are top of the heap. But for Joey Logano, Gibbs Toyota's positions 1, 3, and 4 at 120 laps.
They're just so good at finding downforce. I remember when I was racing on a racetrack like this against Gibbs, when you get a worn out racetrack, you need downforce, you need that grip. You can look no further than a Gibbs camp.
They do a fantastic job having that combination of mechanical grip in the chassis and suspension, as well as the aero grip. And it really does show up in a place like this, especially with the low downforce. Here comes William Byron making a run to the inside of Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch, what a job he's done. You know, we talked about them and the strength that they have. He went clear to the back with those flat tires, damage on the right rear, be back in the top 5. Again, goes right back to what we're saying about the grip and the downforce that they're making on this racetrack today.
Well, it wasn't that long ago, end of stage 1, we saw where Kyle Busch under that green flag stop was right at the end of the tail end of the lead lap.
Almost down, yeah.
Corey LaJoie from Brad Keselowski's Ford Cam. Corey 1 lap down.
Yeah, but this is for position. I mean, that is a great run for Corey LaJoie, and boy, a rough day so far for Brad Keselowski.
Did you hear that car get tight and you have to lift out of the gas? That's what we were talking about with that front turn.
Applebee's would like you to crank it up this Mother's Day.
I can be seeing the side. All clear. Move it to 62 to go. There you go. Still out there at the door. Wheel falling back. Clear. 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 2 out the back. 18 is still up at the wall by himself. Clear up. Clear up. Clear up. Clear up. 11 fell in line. Staying in line. You're good. half a lane lower. Quarter back, car back to it. Lower than you. Still all clear by 1 now. 48's inside of that 12. They're all clear there, 1.5. Stay calm, please. We're try to shoot the bottom here. You won't have to move. Clear, did not get there. The corner, inside 48. That 48 by itself by 5 out back. Still there. Quarter. Still there. Still there. A tight corner. Still here. Still here. Still clear to the top 2 back chasing at 17.
They got together right there. Did you see that?
Yeah, we were on it right there. So a little damage to the right front, the 48 there of Alex Bowman.
And you could see him slipping and sliding up underneath of him, just kind of run out of real estate, needed to move up, didn't. There's a car right there on his door. You see the damage on the left rear quarter of Ryan Blaney as well.
Jamie?
Todd Gordon, his crew chief, real calm, cool, and collectedly said, we'll fix you up. We know what's going on. Blaney just struggling with 0 turn off. Car will not listen to what he wants. They told me they really wanted to focus on a long run here because Ryan is so good at tire management. Remember, they won in Atlanta because of tire management and because of how good they were on that long run.
129 laps complete here in Darlington County. 5 caution flags so far. How about a little John Kay and Steppenwolf? Fox Sports very proud of our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. You can see it all from up here, and for decades, the blimp has. Goodyear, the official tire of the Goodyear 400, which Martin Truex leads by 3.7 seconds over Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, the top 5. Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe holding on older tires. It's been quite a day for Kyle Busch. Started 3rd, got to the lead, cut down a tire, and has fought his way back. Regan.
Well, Mike, he has fought his way back, and I think a big part of that is how calm Kyle has remained in the race cars. We see him get a little loose there off at turn 4. This is very Kyle Busch-esque in terms of he hasn't said a word hardly about anything that happened earlier in the race, just about his race car, what it's doing. Right now, just a little bit too loose, wants to snug it up on this next run zone.
So Kyle is 5 seconds off the lead, half a second behind him, and filling up his mirror is William Byron. There's the Goodyear cam on Byron's car as we go to his pit. Jamie.
And William Byron running 4th right now, keeping his eye on the 19, our leader, Martin Truex Jr. This was on his radio talking to his spotter, Tab Boyd.
19's got another gear. He's 100 pounds light or something. Jesus, crazy, ain't it? I think there's a lot too, just that clean air being maneuverable, not having to pass anybody, you know?
There's nothing like clean air. And you got a good, you got a great race car up front and a great race car driver who has history of running good here. That's and clean air. That's a tough combination.
Now we mentioned Hamlin and Briscoe. Denny Hamlin was last in the pits at lap 93. The 5 cars in front of him at lap 111. And Chase Briscoe was last on pit road at lap 102, 9 laps before most of the rest of the leaders. Regan.
Well, the strategy played right to their hand perfectly, Mike. They were able to take the wave around and then have fresh tires when the caution came out again. Right now, that race car, the front is working good. The back slide's just a little bit too much for him. This is a perfect kind of track for Chase Briscoe. He loves anywhere that we go where you have to move around because you got to search for the grip on the track as we see the 48 hitting the pits.
Alex Bowman and his crew chief Greg Ives drove a late model with that paint scheme.
I'm looking to see if a right front tire is down. Remember, he made contact with.
It's still up. I thought the same thing.
Oh, there's that right front damage. Jamie.
Yeah, he had that damage, but they were wondering if it was maybe flat on the left side. He just knew that he had a tire going down and brought it in, so they'll change all 4 here. And, of course, take a look at it. This is something we've been seeing, you guys, throughout the weekend in all the races. We've seen a lot of cut tires from debris out here.
And I just hope they got that fender pulled out enough. You can see how it's still wrinkled. Here comes the 12 of Blaney. That's the other car that Alex Bowman made contact with.
But it's got right side damage. He's hit the wall twice since we've been off.
Jamie?
And Ryan Blaney, you guys were all over it when he got into the wall and had that damage. They wanted to fix him up. They didn't want to stay out any longer and risk it. They didn't see smoke inside, but they thought they needed to come and be safe here.
Yeah, a lot of damage right there to the right side. Both fenders. Well, put your fingers in there, bud.
No.
Josh Bilicki came off turn 2 very slow down the backstretch around the apron, and he has now taken his Lenny Pond tribute car to the garage. Bubba Wallace and Ryan Newman pitting.
So, Mike, this is it's a few laps shy of splitting the stage in half. But remember, one of my Credible.com race strategy, when you get to the green flag stops, try to be one of the first to hit pit road and take advantage of the 4 Goodyear tires.
So that's what Newman, Blaney, and Bowman have done. And now a few more takers. Byron is in the pit lane, and so is Denny Hamlin. Jamie.
William Byron, probably the most optimistic driver I've heard all day, actually likes his race car right now. Said he's a little bit free into 1. That's the only place, but definitely going in the right direction, Regan.
Denny Hamlin doing a fantastic job keeping that car up front on older tires. That's going to save him a set for the end of the race. Chris Gabehart made a point of that earlier today. The race car right now trending freer the longer that he runs. Needs just a little bit of grip.
Kyle Larson is in, and he's brought a pack of them. Joey Logano with him. Tyler Reddick is in. James Davison pits. Chase Elliott all on pit lane. Regan.
You see the 22 at Joey Logano on the right of the screen. That race car is trending looser as it goes this run. He called that about 10 laps ago. The 8 of Tyler Reddick to the left of your screen right now. That race car was better on entry, but he said it destroyed his exit. He can't exit the corner.
Kyle Busch is in, so is BJ McLeod. As green flag stops continue, Eric Jones hits pit road. And Chase Briscoe. And the leader's coming. Martin Truex slows in turn 3 and drops it down onto the apron and onto pit road. Regan.
Kyle Busch on the left side. You see him right there. That race car still loose, as we mentioned a minute ago. But the biggest thing to note, Kyle Busch very calm, very focused in that race car. Jamie?
The 2016 winner here, Martin Truex Jr. in his box. Just going to be 4 tires here, freeing up as he runs. It's interesting how all of these teams have been on one side or the other, or both, all day long.
Matt DiBenedetto in. No gambling for Ross Chastain this time. He is coming to his pit stall. Austin Dillon, Corey LaJoie, all on pit road. And Justin Haley, and here comes Chris Buescher. He will give up the lead to pit. They'll put Kevin Harvick in the front spot.
Nice solid day for this team of Chris Buescher.
Quinn Houff gets service. Ryan Preece is in. And Buescher making a long run down to his pit. Regan.
Chris Buescher been so strong on these low grip racetracks all season long. The race car right now starts on the tight side, meaning the front tires won't turn for him. Has good speed with it. Unfortunately, it won't hang on. He needs that race car to be better on the long runs, and in particular at the end of the runs. Jamie?
Kevin Harvick won 2 of the 3 races here last year alone. Said the longer they run, the better he thinks it's getting. They think they're going in the right direction. They've been working on this number 4. Each stop, 4 tire stop there. Little air pressure adjustment as well for Kevin Harvick.
Anthony Alfredo makes his stop. So now Christopher Bell, Ricky Stenhouse, and Michael McDowell are the front runners who have not yet pitted. Bell the leader. Stenhouse and McDowell both currently 1 lap down. And here comes McDowell into the pits. So that will leave just Christopher Bell and Ricky Stenhouse. Truex will be the leader once again once we cycle through. Speaking of cycling through, we talked to NASCAR about the incident last week with the tire that rolled across pit road. And they said it was always their intention to wait to throw the caution and clean that tire up after pit stops had completely cycled through, as long as it remained safe to do so. And that's a fluid situation. Depends on the track, depends where on pit road that tire rolling away occurs. A lot of different factors. But that's their hope, is to not let a tire that gets away impact the flow of the race.
Well, you're not going to have to worry about that happening here at this pit road, Mike. Regan?
Christopher Bell having a good, consistent day so far. That's been one of the goals for this race team. That race car starts the runs too tight. Unfortunately, it swings very, very loose for him. This last run, they told him you can back it down and save some tire if you need to try and make it better on the long run.
Yeah, what Adam Stevens did with Christopher Bell, he split it absolutely in half. He ran the same amount of laps then that he'll have to run to the end of stage 2 should it stay green.
So Ricky Stenhouse is the last driver to pit, and he is in now for 4 tires, 4 fresh Goodyear blue streaks. The tire with the blue streak around the sidewall was used in most major forms of racing around the world until 1980. 1981 was when they switched to the current Goodyear Eagles, and that'll say it's molded it right in there. Blue streak stock car specials. What a great throwback for the Goodyear 400. And Truex cycles back to the lead. William Byron 4 seconds back. Kyle Busch 6 seconds off the lead at lap 151. Martin Truex has led over 100 laps at Darlington today as we take you Fox side by side. 138 laps to go in Darlington. Martin Truex is your Toyota top performer right now, with Kyle Busch in third, Denny Hamlin fourth, Christopher Bell after his stop in 16th and still on the lead lap. Bubba Wallace 1 lap back in 20th. Denny Hamlin's paint job is a throwback, and it's one you wouldn't expect. Remember Slick Johnson? Julius Slick Johnson was from Florence, South Carolina, right next to Darlington. He ran a bunch of NASCAR races in the number 80 and a red and white number 18 that looked very much like Denny Hamlin's Sport Clips car today. Well, there they are, kind of virtually tail to tail right there. I like the way they slanted back the sponsor ident, because when they made the decals for Johnson's car, it wouldn't fit if it was level, so they had to kind of stretch it out. And Hamlin's crew did the same thing.
Slick Johnson. Now there's a name.
Yep.
I love it.
Tell you what's slick is this racetrack. These guys got their hands full all over the place. And you just keep trying to, the wall, you know, you keep trying to make this track bigger and bigger and bigger, so you're not leaning on them tires and not, you know, leaning on the wheel to make the front tires mad, trying to be easy and squeeze that throttle to keep the rear tires underneath of you. It's such a balancing act at this racetrack. Very, very difficult to navigate around.
And then you look right here off of turn 2, all those different patches. And when you get up close to these cars, they're bouncing, they're hitting the racetrack, they're jumping sideways, guys are in and out of the throttle. These cars have to do a lot. Those Goodyear tires have to do a lot through that portion of this racetrack.
So we've gone back to the last caution at lap 107, 11th place race here, as the one that took Kurt Busch out of the race as he got loose and spun after contact with Bubba Wallace. And the NASCAR rule on the free pass is a car is not eligible to receive the free pass if, in the judgment of NASCAR, the vehicle was involved in the primary incident or deliberate action which caused the caution. And NASCAR's judgment was that Bubba Wallace was involved in the Kurt Busch spin and crash and thus was ineligible.
Well, you know, as long as it's not a black and white, you know, contact and you're out deal, it's a judgment call. They made the judgment, and we're moving on.
Race on.
Yeah, we'll move on. We can agree to disagree. It's okay.
It's so interesting to me, Jeff. I'm watching these guys run this race, and with that 550 package we ran last year, you could run around that bottom. You could hook the line right down there in 3 and 4. You could actually even run the bottom, and it was kind of preferred even in 1 and 2. Now this thing is slick. They got their hands full, and they're right up against the wall on both ends.
So what's the difference in throttle feel between 550 horsepower and 750?
A lot.
A lot. Well, I mean, I know what
it's called
numerically.
Wide open. When you go back to the throttle, you almost just go right back to wide open. You're not out of it for very long. 750, you're playing with that throttle and all that horsepower all the way off the corner until you get on the straightaway.
So we're going to show you a throttle trace comparison of Martin Truex last year to this year. The blue will be his throttle trace today. On his fastest laps, the speed is the graph at the top, and the throttle is in the middle.
Just throttle alone. Throttle and then the brake trace is interesting, getting into 3. You can tell that's how much less downforce they have. Look at the difference in the throttle last year, almost wide open, and I could tell from those in-car cameras, you can hear him really pedaling the throttle, keeping the rear tires underneath of it.
And
look right there where you see him modulate the throttle in blue, up, down, to try to get the most out of it, instead of just going right back to full bore.
Basically, what you're doing with the blue throttle trace there, you're managing 550 horsepower. You know, like honestly, your throttle at that position with 700 or 750, what is actually probably about 550 horsepower. What it would have been had you been wide open with the old package.
And it's the combination. That massive, drastic downforce change is a big deal, but you add that to that big, massive horsepower change, and now you've got your hands full.
Work to do. Well, if you're playing Clint's Stage 2 contest to win his money, one of the questions is which of these 6 drivers will have the best finishing position at the end of the stage. I think right this moment you'd want to be on Joey Logano.
just one winner last week, Mike. All $10,000.
How about that? Boy, Brad Keselowski, who's only had 2 lead lap finishes in 14 Darlington starts, has been a lap down since lap 73, and he's in the pits under green.
Certainly not the day I thought he was going to have.
Not at all.
Up front,
got a tire down.
We would be talking about all day long.
I had him pegged to be a top 5 car today.
Regan?
Well, he just came over the radio, said, I got a tire down right now, guys. I've got to pit. They've definitely been struggling all day long. We mentioned the splitter hitting the racetrack early on in the race. They had to add Packer about a 1 stop ago. Still saying that this car just does not feel right. Something feels broken.
Now, just before he came in, look on the right side of your screen. There's the deuce.
Want to make a bad day worse?
I'm sorry, the replay froze up on us.
There it is.
Oh,
it was the 1980 replay machine, by the way.
That was his
that froze
you
up
could
right
hear
there.
it actually hit the wall.
There's Corey LaJoie and Bubba Wallace and Brad racing for position.
Yeah, it almost got pretty interesting right there between Corey LaJoie and Bubba Wallace.
And there's Corey. Well, I had to promise on Twitter today not to call him Alan Kulwicki today.
Well,
I said if I can get through the day without calling him Randy, his dad's name, I'll be doing pretty good.
I've been watching these cars all day long, and I'm telling you, that's my favorite.
Mine too. Yep.
It's official. It's etched in stone. That's my favorite.
There are
what
3 Kulwicki cars here, including the 9 there. When Alan won his championship in 1992, he drove for Hooters with the number 7. Of course, the Elliott number is 9, but otherwise, that's a pretty faithful replica right there.
A lot of Kulwicki love here today at Darlington.
Yep. Anthony Alfredo is running a paint scheme that Alan raced when he first came to the Cup Series. So there's Chase's number 9, and there's the championship winning car. Now I can tell that picture's from early in the season because it doesn't say Underbird down at the bottom of the valence, which it did for the last few races. Alan asked Ford, can I call it the Underbird because we're such an underdog? He had to overcome a 250-point deficit in the last 6 races to win the title on the last day, and did.
And Larry McReynolds right now is trying to bite his tongue, right, Larry?
Yes, I am. Mike, I do want to clear one thing up on this MacB and McB. If you've noticed, my name starts with an MC, and I never call it the same thing 2 times in a row.
We can always count on you, Larry.
We call you Larry Mack and Jamie Mack.
You know, okay, I go on about Alan Kulwicki. He was a great friend, and I really admired what he did. But that day he won the championship, he was calling the shots from the car for the changes for Paul Andrews to make. But most importantly, he was counting laps led between he and Bill Elliott. And he beat Bill in laps led by just 1 or 2, just enough to get that 5-point bonus, and that was the difference. Elliott won the race. Alan finished 2nd, but he won the championship.
I wouldn't know, Mike. I was too busy trying to dig a roll of duct tape out of my nose that came off the back of Gordon's car.
I set you up for that, Larry Mack.
You know, it's not just the race cars either. As finally we're seeing people in the stands, which is such an exciting thing for me. All the throwback, crew uniforms from over the years that you look down and you see these people wearing. Jeff Gordon, believe it or not, these guys, it's hot out today.
Yeah,
that is commitment out of this cat for wearing your fire suit in the grandstands.
Well, for a little refreshment, let's see where the Coca-Cola family of drivers are in the field. Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, top 5. Ryan Newman, Austin Dillon, top 20. And Daniel Suarez, 26, 2 laps back with 121 to go. $12 laps to go in stage 2.
I think this is probably the biggest opportunity for teams. When you talk about the way we're running now with no practice, no qualifying, no on track anything before you get to the green flag here. I see a lot of teams missing today. The 2 of Brad Keselowski, this Suarez camp. That's a new startup team, and they've done such a great job this year of getting good runs and overachieving, in my opinion. This is a tough obstacle to overcome with this grip level and things at this racetrack. The old girl throws a lot at you at Darlington.
Yeah, not a difficult place to miss it.
Here's Jamie on our leader.
Well, one team that has hit it so far is the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. And they did last year. Remember, in the fall, he led 196 laps until he got together with Chase Elliott and ended up 22nd. He's led 130 laps so far. And right now, the first time he said, what are the lap times of Kyle Busch? He's starting to watch his rearview mirror, seeing where his teammate is running and if he's making up any ground on him.
All right, so Martin Truex is the runaway leader. You'd think you'd give this to Martin Truex. Well, here's the flip side of that coin. In the last 4 races where Martin has led more than 100 laps, he has not won. Twice in 2021 and here last September. And oh, by the way, no driver has ever won a stage at Darlington and captured the race-ending checkered flag.
Oh man, that's going to be a story worth watching as this thing unfolds. There's a couple other guys we've had our eye on. Tyler Reddick in the 8, and the 5 of Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson, I've been looking at his lap times. He's been one of the fastest cars on the track about the last 20 laps.
Until he got
big
right here. You're
here.
exactly right. We were watching that, Jeff, on the graph. He needed to get by him. He got to Reddick, and his lap times were falling off because, what? Tyler Reddick was running his lineups up high.
Kyle Busch trying to gain some ground here. That 38, that's the other Kulwicki scheme. When Allen came and ran 5 races in 1985 for Bill Terry, Hardee's, his ASA sponsor, came with him, and 3 of those races were in a number 38 car that looked just like that.
Mike, if you ever get a cold and think about missing one of these races, there's no chance that Jeff and I are coming up here to try this alone. I'm not going to be able to pull that out of the pocket.
Thanks, pal. Now, this is also very similar to the 28 Hardee's paint scheme that Cale Yarborough had a great deal of success with for Harry Renier.
Don't see very many chrome wheels on race cars.
No.
There's that 38. They ran 2 races as number 32 with this scheme, and then 3 races with
now you're just flexing.
38.
He's just showing off.
Yeah. It's flexing on us now.
Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts.
I want to know which one of y'all is going to be in charge of telling Truex a stage winner's never won the race here.
I mean,
hi, Larry.
You know, that's such a good point. And it's been that way, really, not necessarily just here either. I mean, that's kind of been the way for the last month or so of people that were really shining early and wild things happen at the end and they can't capitalize.
But this speaks to your MO, Clint, where you had great runs here, couldn't get that great finish. The same thing has happened to every stage winner at Darlington since the dawn of stage racing.
So stage racing was my problem?
No, I'm not saying that.
Because I struggled before stage racing.
I was going to say, I can start going down the list. Where do you want me to start?
All right, good. Ryan Blaney moving on Marty Robbins here. Whoa, Christopher Bell. Hello. Battle for 7th. Battle. That's over.
Remember, hey, Bell, they got the tires late in this cycle of stops, and I think it's paying dividends now.
Now look at that 78 in the mix there, that B.J. McLeod. Now there's an odd throwback, okay? Little Joe Falk from the Tidewater area of Virginia was one of the original partners of this team, and he was named for, I got it here somewhere, I think it's Joe Weatherly, Little Joe.
Okay.
So there was Joe and there was Little Joe, and that's the paint scheme, honoring Joe Weatherly.
I didn't know that either, Jeff.
I was going to say, Mike, whatever you tell, I'm going to say yes.
Joe Weatherly won here in 1963 with that paint scheme.
You could walk us off a cliff. We'd just go for it.
Oh, look at this cliff into turn 1. 11 of Denny Hamlin. Oh, man, he's squeezing Joey Logano
right there, too.
Yeah, Larson's really caught this group in a hurry.
3 cars under a blanket for 4th.
Oh. Joey kind of closed the door on Kyle there. Joey's loose off the corner. He can't.
Christopher Bell is going to make it 4 under a blanket when they come to the green and white tablecloth to end stage 2.
Boy, that's going to get a lot of attention on pit road about when to come and get those 4 tires.
And Joey's car really fell off there into this run.
Martin Truex, 4 cars in the top 10 at the end of stage 2, just as Hendrick Motorsports was at the end of stage 1. Stage ending flag coming out. Ryan Newman trying to hang at the tail end of the lead lap. And Martin Truex has swept the stages at Darlington. Kyle Busch second, William Byron, Denny Hamlin. That makes Martin Truex king of the road. A little then and now. It was the Wood brothers that invented the choreographed ballet of the modern pit stop. They were so good at it, Ford took them to Indy, where they won with Jim Clark. And before the cars come to pit road at the end of stage 2, Saturday, pro football continues with the Spring League on Fox. The Alphas take on the Conquerors at 3 Eastern. Hard-hitting action kicks off Saturday on Fox and the Fox Sports app. The Spring League.
Mike, that reminded me, I was watching Ford versus Ferrari last night, and I love that scene where they come on and the Holman Moody team had a NASCAR pit crew and beat them off of pit road.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Jamie?
Kyle Larson in the 5 says 2 is where they are beating them. Otherwise, he feels pretty good, especially good on the long run. 4 tires here. The 19 just picked up his 3rd stage win of the season and said, good job, boys, just building a little bit free. And the 24, William Byron, biggest swing they've had all day on the loose side. Regan.
Denny Hamlin loose all day long. His biggest concern is to not get him tight, though, on these restarts. Needs a small adjustment for the loose. The 18 car, Kyle Busch, right now his rear tires are on top of the racetrack. Just won't grip up at any point for him. And the 20, Christopher Bell, continues his strong run. He feels pretty good about it, even with the tire advantage he had at the end there.
So your Ram race off pit road. Truex and Kyle Busch won 2. Denny Hamlin picks up a spot from William Byron. Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick each gained 2. Martin Truex had a 14.5-second lead at the end of stage 2. Not quite the butt-kicking Ned Jarrett gave the field here in 1965 when he won the Southern 500 by 14 laps. How about last week? The Bushy McBush Race 400 goes to Kyle Busch, who is greeted upon landing by a mariachi band hired by his brother.
Tell him up right here. Hey, Kyle Busch, it's Boyer. Jeff, Mike up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, 10-4. You got tired of Truex up there the first stage or what?
Well, we thought you quit on us with that tire. We're going down, got in the wall just a little bit. Great save, by the way, keeping yourself in a run and been all over the place today. The front, the back, back to the front. You got anything for him?
Man, I don't know. I'd like to think so. I thought we were pretty good that first run before tires started coming apart. He caught us, and then it went around. Right, perfect timing, I guess. But, you know, I feel like our M&M's Camry's been good today. Just got to keep it out of the fence and focus on the longevity of the rest of these runs here to get us to the end.
All right, buddy. Good luck.
And he called us out.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Kyle Busch, runner-up in stage 2. Let's take a look at Kyle through the Daytona Fox hangar chute through the years.
September 4th and 5th. All right, so that's 190 to go on the board right now. We're going to have 104 laps to go in this Goodyear 400. And the question is going to become, does anybody have anything for Martin Truex Jr.? Martin Truex Jr. has won both stages so far in this race, and he has been flat-out dominant in this event this afternoon. Kyle Busch is your good first teammate, along with Hamlin running second and third right now. Identification from the Motor Racing Network.
Welcome back to Darlington and the Goodyear 400 as we throw it back to earlier eras of NASCAR. Why do I feel like it's 1973 and we're all standing in Filene's basement in Boston trying on $19 markdown suits? Jeff, of all the blue suits you've worn on Fox, as Buddy Baker would say, that's one of them.
I so badly wanted to break out my disco moves here with this music, but it's so great. No, not going to have much. It's so fun to be back here at Darlington calling a race. Our first time, really,
yes.
my first time up here in the booth, and on a throwback weekend. Seeing some great racing out there with this low downforce, high horsepower package. And listen, this thing's not over yet.
No, if it's following suit with everything else we've seen this year, guys, something's going to happen at the end, and then it's going to set off. All hell breaks going to break loose. So it's going to be interesting. I love this racetrack. I like that these guys got their hands full out there, slipping and sliding around. You hear these in cars. I'm telling you, things are going to happen.
What happened to your gold chains?
Man, this is terrible. I didn't pick this out, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's because we gave all his money away. He doesn't have any money for wardrobe anymore.
Yeah.
Can you believe there's 18-wheelers all over Los Angeles filled with clothes for every era, for 20th Century Fox and all that? Hey, 4 people took your money.
4 people, that's it.
Yes.
Man, you guys are slipping on me. It was so many people. Now we're down 1 last week, 4 this week. Come and get it next week.
Subject to, I have to say this, eligibility verification. That's the fine print. But still, it's your money.
Mike, we threw it back. What happened? Like, that's your throwback? I thought.
Looked like a funeral home.
Well,
like
first off,
director or something.
I didn't pick this out. It's double-breasted, has an interesting liner of sorts.
Okay, yeah. Well, you just now we're talking. Now we're talking.
It did not come out of my closet, Barry Landis. It did not. I had a pair of plaid pants from the 70s I was going to bring. But once I got one leg in them, I go, this is not going to fly. Enough. 101 laps to go in Darlington County. That's our drone trying to make us dizzy and doing a good job of it. That was a Tommy Rose song, by the way. Harvick ready to go from 10th. Blaney from 8th. William Byron from 4th.
And are we going to start to see these track conditions change a little bit? Sun's starting to settle. You see the shade coming to 3 and 4. That might change the balance of these race cars.
That's a great point. It'll wake some up and hurt the others.
Stage 3. Green flag. Martin Truex rockets away. It's the 3rd time he has swept the stages at Darlington. But as we've said, no stage winner has yet ended up in victory lane here.
See Joey Logano making a move on Kyle Larson. He's got a great short run car. I mean, they've definitely improved this race car, the 22. He's solid, but man, this thing takes off on these restarts. Heard Kurt Busch earlier when he went out of this race say not a lot of give and take. You saw right there how hard Kyle Larson was willing to battle and fight for that position with Joey Logano, not wanting to give up any track position.
16 lead lap cars. Eric Jones is included in that. He got the free pass on the stage ending caution at lap 185.
Oh, Larson may have scrubbed the wall there. That was close. Maybe the right rear tiny bit.
A little bit.
That'll be Larry's drinking game next time we're at a super speedway. Larson scrapes the outside wall.
So guys, and you alluded to it, Jeff, a little bit there. Sun is going down. It's kind of almost getting hazy. It's down. Track temp is down to 113 from 132 when we started here. So big difference. Lot of grip level change right there.
Still sun on the track in 1 and 2. Shade now in 3 and 4.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're going to start hearing these drivers making some comments, and these crew chiefs having to make some pretty big adjustments on this next run. You know, it's so important here at Darlington. We've seen this even in the night races. You got to get ahead of this racetrack. You never catch up to it. You got to get ahead of it on each time you come down pit road and can make an adjustment.
Christopher Bell bottom fishing there as Ryan Blaney went by for 7th.
And you talked about Joey, Jeff, and one thing I liked about that, you got to capitalize on what you're good at. If short run speed's what you're good at, go for it. Get it as many passes as you can. Get yourself to afford it in that clean air. You know that's going to help you, and I think that's what he's doing. As far back as he fell those last 10 laps of that last run, obviously they probably made an adjustment, but again, stick to what you're good at.
Chase Elliott trying to take 8th away from Bell.
So often we see that move right there that Chase Elliott was making. We've seen it stick. We've seen it work. But that's with higher downforce. With this low downforce, that move just does not seem to be as successful. You see these guys get very loose when they get underneath another car going into that corner.
Tyler Reddick tries the bottom to draw up on Kevin Harvick. That's for 10th place. So Kyle Busch and his team have been talking about not that other Toyota, Martin Truex in the lead, but what one of the other makes is doing with regard to green flag stops.
Green flag stop. The 24 was a little bit more shallow, a little lower. Yeah, that's what I need. So I know where I'm braking. Can you tell me distance much farther? Other guys are braking past me. The 24 was at the same mark as you. He just sort of rolled into it more instead of as much of a spike as you did. Getting to pit road today, who else is really good? He's the best one we have. And your exit was really good.
You're going to hear some more radio chatter here pretty quick. Well, that debris on the front of that thing is probably going to be skyrocketing. You might see him back up, try to get it pulled off.
Well, what prompted that conversation was I saw Kyle enter the pits under green, and he slowed way high on the track and well back in turn number 3, almost as if something might have been wrong with the car. No, he was just braking early to make sure he made the pit road entrance.
And it takes us back to the SMT data that all these teams use. You hear us talk about that week in and week out. Those guys are analyzing that every move, and including pit road entry. Where did he brake? Where was his end, braking point? And then how much faster did he roll or slower roll to the line than I did?
Yeah, Kyle Busch is very good getting to pit road, but I got to tell you, you got to be careful what you wish for, because you do not want to overshoot this pit lane entry on under green.
Ryan Blaney fastest on our Xfinity fastest lap last lap. His Ford over Christopher Bell's Toyota, Kyle Busch and William Byron's Camaro, and Kyle Larson's. Right side tire problem for Eric Jones. He slowed coming off turn 2, and he's now made it all the way to, and yeah, that'll give you right side tire problem.
Ooh, ouch.
He is on pit road after getting the free pass on the last caution.
It does not take much, does it, Jeff? That thing slips up, and it never gives you an indication. It never creeps up on better. It just, out of clear blue, you lose traction into the wall.
Regan?
Tough break for Eric Jones. Team was having a very good day. Tried more of a throwback setup, if you will, an older setup on this car for him to try and get him comfortable. He came on the radio, said, I need right sides. It's bad.
Eric Jones has never not had a top 10 finish here. Going to be tough to keep that streak alive today. 89 laps to go with Martin Truex in command. 85 laps to go. Martin Truex in command. Let's see who picks the low-hanging fruit, because it's time for the Credit One Bank ones to watch.
Well, Mike, I'm watching our current points leader, and that's Denny Hamlin. He's had 3 wins here at Darlington in the past, but he's been so consistent this year. I don't know if he gets the win. He's not been in position yet today, but maybe this is the time where it falls into his lap. He's been so close and right there. I'm going with Denny Hamlin.
Well, Jeff, the mustache is back. I'm like a chia pet. Just water me. You know, William Byron, he started the season off 26th in the Daytona 500, 33rd on the road course. Won that race at Homestead. He's trying to do something today that no Hendrick driver has done since 2007 when Jeff Gordon got 10 consecutive top 10 finishes. I'm watching William Byron. Remember, though, 2 more trips to pit road, at least for everybody.
Guys, are you not watching this race? 2016 since he's won Darlington. Truex is a guy. He's dominating this race. He's going to do it again.
Well, guys, Joey Logano has been the absolute fastest race car on these restarts when we fire off. I'm going to go with Joey Logano, and if that wasn't enough reason, I think my chain says 22 on it somewhere.
Clint, no stage winners ever won Darlington. However, Kyle Busch did win here in 2008. That's a lucky 13 years ago. He did win last week. And wasn't he in a great mood when you spoke to him? Keep an eye on Kyle. That's your Credit One Bank ones to watch. I'll bet our wardrobe on it. Brad Kay, 2 laps down already and in a little early, but Larry, isn't he off sequence with everybody else?
What got him off sequence, they took the wave around and got one of their laps back, but again, he was just paying the price so bad with those old tires. It's just like they're standing in the middle of the hole digging as hard as they can.
Oh, jeez. Joey Logano, Kyle Larson having quite a battle here for 5th.
Well, we talked about how good Joey Logano is on the short runs. He took off on this restart, went by Kyle Larson, but Kyle Larson very good on the long runs.
I think you finally let him go right there. Kyle needs that outside line. It's where he's been the happiest, where he's laying the best lap times. And that hurts you too. When you have to pull down and stay and run a different line, try to pass, you really scrub a lot of tire off and making those passes like that.
You can see right there Joey Logano's car as the run goes on. Now he's starting to get loose. See, he hung the back end of that 22. Pennzoil Ford off of turn 2 there. That was pretty fun to watch. We've seen a lot of that today, these guys hanging it out.
Blaney and Bell and Mr. New Tires.
Yes.
Brad Kozlowski right with him. Well, Kozlowski now 3 laps back, but he has fresh tires right there. Tyler Reddick 11th. Got it squirrely and almost put some of that magenta on the wall as he battles Chris Buescher for 11th. Did he get it? No.
You know, we've seen this out of Tyler Reddick now a couple races this year. We saw it last week at Kansas. He starts so strong, and I don't know if it's the adjustments, if others adjust better, but you know, it just seems like as the race goes on, they seem to lose a little bit of that speed they start the race with.
Well, my vote for the throwback initiative of 2021 goes to the 6th place driver, Joey Logano from Middletown, Connecticut. He started his career racing on the 1/20th mile Silver City quarter midget track in Meriden, Connecticut. Now there's a picture of it. The last time it had been paved was 1975 when Jack Arute paid to pave it. There is Joey with his dad Tom and a whole group of racing-minded folks, the Manafort brothers, the Loganos, all came together, all people that race fans in Connecticut know, to repave Silver City.
Oh, cool.
And Joey Logano's foundation paid the over $80,000 to have that new asphalt put down on the track where he, Ryan Preece, and World of Outlaws star David Gravel all began their careers.
Folks, you know, if you get a chance, you want to get your kids into racing. Quarter midgets are a great place to do it. That's where I started racing. Guys like Joey Logano, so many others. Bobby Labonte, I know the Labonte family, they started quarter midgets. So get out there, support your local quarter midget tracks, go-kart tracks too, because that's where the future of this sport and other forms of motorsports begins.
And you never know. that picture of he and his dad, Tom, right there, they were doing nothing more than having fun, enjoying racing as a family, and look what it turned out to be, his son being a champion of NASCAR.
William Byron in fourth. Looking back at teammate Kyle Larson, who draws alongside for the spot. 75 laps left to race in Darlington County in the Goodyear 400. .70 laps to go in Darlington, and Joey Logano is the first of the leaders to come to pit road for green flag stops. Here comes Kyle Busch in as well. Martin Truex continues to lead. Here's Regan.
There you see the 5-car Kyle Larson right now on pit road. The 22 of Joey Logano is also on pit road. He says, this is the loosest car that I have ever driven. The rear tires went away way too soon.
Boy, everybody's in. They wasted no time in coming to the pit lane, the lead lap cars. Only the top 5 stayed out. Regan.
Kyle Busch hits pit road, trying to be one of the first on the pit road to make up a little bit of time. Race car still swinging the back too much for Kyle Busch right now.
Denny Hamlin coming. That will leave Truex, Reddick, Buescher, and Briscoe out on track. And now they all come but Martin Truex. Regan?
About 10 laps ago, Denny Hamlin got onto the radio and said, this is the absolute loosest the race car has been all day long. He needs something to try and make the back of that race car grip just a little bit better for this last runs.
Hamlin, Truex is in now, 1 lap after everybody else. Jamie.
What a day it's been for Martin Truex Jr. in the 19 team. He's led 180 laps already. Only driver to win 2 races this season. 4-tire stop here. Hasn't said much about the handling. He's been pretty happy with it with that clean air. Matt DiBenedetto in the 21. They've kind of been up and down on the loose side, tight side. They've certainly faded since the beginning.
So you hear a lot of loose, right? Cooler temperatures, we talked about that. Makes those front tires work better. Oh,
48. Alex Bowman has a tire going down. He smoked it all the way around turn 3 and 4, and then again at turn 2. Here he's back in 3.
And he better get down to pit road as fast as he can. That's
Left
not going to
rear.
last very long.
Nope, it's left rear's down.
I don't think it's down yet, but it's going to be.
But yeah, to your point, Clint, no doubt, I've seen this track so many times as it cools down, it just gives you more front grip. Doesn't make the rear tires grip a whole lot better, but it definitely makes those front tires grip.
Well, it makes them all grip better, but that shows you how much less downforce these things have. The front all of a sudden starts overpowering the rear, and now you're going to see a lot of adjustments. You heard all those guys complain, man, get me tightened up. This is the loosest I've ever been.
So you're right, Bowman's tire wasn't down. It was low air to start. He had just made a pit stop. So it was low, but it certainly was rubbing.
So you get the flex of that sidewall, just, you know, because you can see he's got a little bit of damage there. Now it's down. You saw it just went, well, maybe that's just that low. Yeah, you know what? Maybe it is that low pressure. It looks like it is down. No, it's definitely down.
Not yet.
Man, I mean,
we're not doing a very good job here, Jeff. I think we're supposed to be good analysts.
Man, I mean, if that's not a low a tire going down, I don't know what it is anymore.
It shows you how low that they run these air pressures right after the cautions like that, or excuse me, the pit stops. Because you have to let them run on a long run. You have to start them low to get to your optimal, or they'll blow right through it.
So their hope is, as that tire heats up and the pressure increases, it won't rub anymore, right?
Well, here you can see on low pressures coming straight off pit road, it's got to be doing some damage to that sidewall. But now that I look how low that was, now I see that air pressure was actually starting to come up a little bit in that last shot that we saw. But now he's on pit road.
Jamie.
Well, since they had just pitted, the guys weren't ready with a set of tires. They had to run to the very back of their pit box, run the tires out there. No time to make air pressure adjustments on those, just in time to put them over the wall and put 4 fresh tires on and wipe the grill for the 48.
So they pulled the left rear fender, trying to prevent a recurrence. And here's Truex coming up on that Bill Elliott Winston Million and Daytona 500 winning paint scheme from 1985. That's on Michael McDowell's car. You know, through that whole green flag cycle and his pit stop, Martin Truex did not give up the lead.
That's when you're that strong, you're that good, your car is out front, and everybody else knows the only way to try to maybe force your hand or get you to make a mistake or try to get ahead of you is to get to pit road, get some fresh Goodyears before you do. But immediately after second place, Kyle Busch came down pit road, then our leader Martin Truex Jr. came, but everybody else on this final stage decided not to go out there and run it long.
You guys gave me the 3rd pick. It was so blinding obvious. We did not.
You got the first pick.
3rd pick.
No, you go
first.
3rd in the order.
They don't know that. They don't know that.
They do now. Low-hanging fruit, Clint. Larry, I need some help here. What do you got in your trends box today?
Well, as I start speaking, I'm going to watch the caution flag because that happens quite frequently. What I did is I went back and looked at the last 5 Darlington races, which is stayed racing, excludes one race last year that was rain shortened. The average of the last caution, lap 233, which is right where we're at, 60 laps to go. Only one time did it happen in the final 20 laps, but we have had 4 overtime finishes since the inception of overtime here at Darlington, and the leader at the scheduled distance won 2 of the 4.
All right.
No caution came out while I was speaking.
And that's a first
shocking.
over the last few weeks. Yes, that is a bit of a shocker.
The lap's not over yet, Larry.
Well, Larry, 3 times this year, a driver has led more than 200 laps in a race, and none of those 3 went to victory lane.
I'm going to give credit where credit's due, though. He's putting it on the line. You can see how close he is to that wall. Every lap off of turn 4, man, he is this an inch off the wall. But that's what it takes to, you got to put yourself out there, take that risk, make that commitment if you're going to win this race.
Well, and I also think his teammate, Kyle Busch, is keeping a little bit of pressure on him. He had stretched it out, a while back on the end of stage 2. But right now, Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson is coming into the picture here, too.
But you saw
both
right
of these
there,
guys putting down some good lap times.
You see the commitment the 19 has? He was way closer to the wall. He was committed to that outside line. The 18, not so much. He doesn't like what he feels in the grip. Doesn't trust it.
Coming up Saturday on FS1, an MLB doubleheader. First, at 4 Eastern, the A's take on the Twins. Then at 8:30, Cardinals Padres. All begin Saturday on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Spring baseball. Jamie, how about our leader?
How about James Small and the job that he is doing leading Martin Truex Jr. in this race and all season, to be honest. I talked to James this morning about Martin here, and he said, this rules package should play right into our hands. It's exactly what Martin Truex is all about, putting it in his hands. He said, but we are good every time here, but something always happens. We're too fast, we get penalties, loose wheels, get in the wall, or wreck with Chase Elliott while leading. So you can bet he's got his fingers crossed right now.
So Truex leads by 2.5. This egg-shaped oval has given drivers fits ever since 1950. How about if we take a ride with William Byron and our Goodyear cam?
And I like this right here because he's duking it out with Denny Hamlin. You'll hear him get down in this corner, loose, loose, loose right there. You got your hands full, always getting into 3. Now he's start rolling back into that gas. Treat that baby like it's an egg underneath of it.
Oh man, especially when you're rolling around the bottom there in turns 3 and 4. Got to have a lot of patience.
You can hear how way early he's lifting.
There couldn't be 2 more different corners or ends of a racetrack than here at Darlington.
No way. And 2 different ways to run it. You saw right there. He went up, diamond off from the center and hooked the bottom. Denny Hamlin ran that wall all the way around. Now all of a sudden they've switched roles right here. See how much earlier he got to the gas, but then again, as soon as he got loose, he got to the gas, he got loose right there and had to back out of it.
He saw an opportunity, didn't he? There,
yeah,
Clint?
he did.
He's like, okay, he went to the bottom, I got the top, this is where I want to be, I'm going to get a big run, and he got in the gas, and it just didn't hold for him.
And that's what happens when you get up there. You get into you get your car set. Once it takes a set, that gives you an indication, all right, I can get back to the throttle. You squeeze the throttle to it across the center, and then all of a sudden the rear end starts breaking loose. You got to bail back out of the gas.
So about 30 laps ago during commercial, Jeff told us if anybody's going to have anything for Martin Truex, it's this number 5, and Kyle Larson has just driven it up into second place.
Well, he has the long run speed. He doesn't have a lot of short run speed, and he's lost a few spots on some of the restarts. But now that we had this green flag stop, and he entered pit road really strong, had a good pit stop. But man, he has the speed right now to match Martin Truex Jr.
53 to go as we take you Fox side by side with Martin Truex leading. 48 laps to go in the Goodyear 400. All of us at Fox Sports want to wish all of the moms and grandmoms and wives a happy Mother's Day. Wish we could be there with you to celebrate. Some of us, at Jeff's urging, were smart enough to do that yesterday. And we'll probably do it again when we get home this evening. But happy Mother's Day, everyone. Glad you're able to spend part of it with us, watching America's best racers compete here at one of America's toughest racetracks.
Great.
Nice crowd
there
on hand. 35% of capacity here. When they run the Southern 500 Labor Day weekend, Darlington has announced all seats and infield spots will be available, 100% capacity.
Hey, we got moms here in the grandstands today at Darlington.
Yeah, momming right there. Awesome. Love this place. It's always so much fun. Almost reminds you of like it, you know, the fair comes to town. When I remember coming here all the years. Go out there in the infield and have fun out there, out in front of the racetrack.
Here's two guys that were battling it out for a win here in Darlington a year ago. These two guys were kind of the king of the hill, but man, today they're just kind of riding around there 9th and 10th, putting up decent days, but not what we are accustomed to by these two.
Martin Truex enjoying a lead of 4 seconds. How about the second place car, Jamie?
Well, Kyle Larson turning up the wick just a little bit, but Cliff Daniels, his crew chief, said just manage your tires, man. Don't burn them up trying to chase them down. If we do a good job on pit cycles here, we will be just fine. If you get in the wall, I think he's already gotten a wall there. But Kyle Larson also noting that with the sun going down, it's getting really hard to see. He needs a tear off on the next stop.
Yeah, one of the toughest places there is on the circuit going into turn 3. The way this sun sets, it's right in your eyes going into turn 3. So if that windshield, you see the 53 there got into the wall behind Kyle Larson. But if there's any debris, from rubber or sand on your windshield and you're going into turn 3, near impossible to drive into that shade.
Heading into the sun here.
And it doesn't take a lap and your windshield is just smoked from all the debris. This is definitely, for whatever reason, always has been one of the dirtiest racetracks we go to.
Mike, I would say over the next 5 to 6 laps, we're going to see them cycle back into green flag pit stops. And Martin Truex Jr., James Small, they can do the same thing they did the last time. Let everybody else make their stop, and then they'll come right after that because they do, to your point, a 4-second lead.
Thanks, Larry. Kyle Larson has 7 wins in the NASCAR Cup Series. In 2 of those 7, the driver he passed to win those races is the driver leading the race right now, Martin Truex.
Oh, boy.
You know, I love the information that Cliff Daniel gave Kyle Larson there. Race a racetrack. How many times have you heard that in your ear, Jeff, racing around this place? Do not be enticed to go after that guy. Keep racing this racetrack. If you don't, it will bite you.
Well, and how many times this year already have we documented Kyle Larson's dominance in a race and doesn't go on to victory lane? Maybe today, by not leading any laps, this might be the best thing that could happen to him.
And if you're Truex, the only thing you can't afford to do, don't beat yourself. Easy on. You've afforded yourself this 4-second lead. Easy on the pits. Easy pit stop. Everybody hit their marks. No mistakes.
Today's aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. For decades, Goodyear's been watching history being made at Darlington from 1,000 feet above. Happy to have the Goodyear blimp with us. Goodyear, official tire of the Goodyear 400. 41 to go, and at least one pit stop will be required to complete the distance. Brad Keselowski's back in. He'd been fighting knocking the wall down for about the last 10 laps. He is 3 down in his Penske Mustang.
Yeah, Clint, to your point, if I'm James Small, if Martin Truex Jr. has had like maybe 6 green lights on his dash for pit road, give me 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Let's make sure here.
We don't need 100%. We need 80%. It's plenty good.
They were last on pit road about 30 laps ago. Truex about 2 laps later than most.
Let's say one more thing about what I just said about 100% and 80%. when you're in this position, you have a car as good as Martin is, and you're running around here, you get in a rhythm. This track is so rhythmic. You have to, your crew chief, I can't tell you how many times, man, back it down a little bit. No more. No, really. Back it down. When you're in sync and you're in your rhythm, you almost have to run that, because if you back up, all your pickup points, your lifting point, everything's different. So keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, don't change what you're doing. All
right, Logano is in. Byron is coming.
We've seen this story play
So is Blaney.
It's kind of the same characters might hit pit road about the same time.
That's right.
Each sequence.
Regan?
Well, the battle still continues for Joey Logano to get that race car to hold on better for him throughout the runs. Started this run off tighter, but still migrated to way free for him right now. He needs to fix that. Jamie?
William Byron had scraped the wall a little bit ago. Said he's just a little bit free and the car feels on top of the racetrack. Been hearing that from quite a few drivers down here. The 5 on the right side is Kyle Larson. Wiped the grill, just set a little bit too loose. He'll be happy to get that tear off, so he'll have clear vision. Back to Regan with the 18.
Kyle Busch came on the radio just a minute ago and said, we're not very good right now. I need help. It's because he is just too loose. Kyle Larson passed him. He started screaming loose right after that. Jamie?
Martin Truex Jr. in the pit box. Team's been doing a great job today. They asked him, what can we give you? He said, man, it's been the same. I am pretty happy with it. A lot of smoke out of the right front there. Air pressure adjustment for him and a tear off for Martin Truex Jr., who's been dominant all race long.
Joey Logano, too fast in Mac B, too fast entering.
Oh.
Society Hill would be too fast exiting.
Money stop. Can't afford that one.
Nope.
36 to go. It's going to be a tough hole to dig out of.
Here comes Tyler Reddick to his pit stall, Regan.
Well, about 2 stops ago, Tyler Reddick's race car migrated to tight. It has stayed that way since then. He's tight on entry, can't get the power down on exit, needs some help with that race car.
So Truex holds on to the lead from Larson, Kyle Busch, and Reddick. Logano is going to have to give up 4th place and make a drive-through. 1.7 seconds is the gap now, first to second.
Well, and that's the advantage of coming in 1 lap before our leader, Martin Truex Jr., who was on those older tires. So now he's got him in sight, but can he close that gap and put some pressure on Martin Truex Jr., who really hasn't had much pressure today. He's been able to run his own race.
Just got to make sure that you catch the, again, when you're catching these lappers, catch them at the right time. Give up a little bit one area so you know when you get to them, you can get right around them, not get stalled out.
But, you know, you mentioned it, and to me, I like the flip side of that story, right? Okay, so Martin Truex Jr. has dominated this race. Don't make any mistakes. You know, you don't have to do 100% right now. Well, if you're Kyle Larson and you're the one chasing, you're giving it 105%. You're putting that car out there on the edge. You're taking the risk to try to close that gap.
Absolutely, for sure.
Joey Logano makes his penalty drive down pit road as Martin Truex comes up on 215 laps led. Bubba Wallace gives up the free pass position to make his pit stop, and that will make Eric Jones the first car 1 lap down, but Jones has not yet stopped in this cycle.
Mike, the 5 crew of Kyle Larson, they gave 100%, and it worked out pretty good. Their pit stop was a second quicker than Martin Truex Jr.'s crew.
Yeah, that goes back to what we were talking about. Yeah. James Small is saying, guys, just hit all 5 lug nuts.
That's right.
You know, let's make this a nice clean stop. Martin, I want you to do a just nice smooth job getting to pit road. And Cliff Daniels is saying the exact opposite.
Come on, boys, I need
Larson,
you.
Man, get everything you got.
All right, Eric Jones stops, and that will complete the cycle. So on the green flag cycle of pit stops, including the lap coming in and the lap going out, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, along with Buescher and Hamlin, all quicker than Martin Truex.
2/10 faster that last lap, guys. He's catching him.
Kyle Larson driving a color scheme that throws back to his very first race car.
A half a second on that lap, boys. Still a lot of racing, though. 31 to go if I'm Kyle Larson. You can see him.
Did you see him sliding that car off the turn 2 right there?
He's getting smaller, but don't overdrive your car and blow these tires off out before you get to him.
He's going to get to him. Another half second.
Oh, man. Now this is starting to put some pressure on Martin Truex Jr. He has not seen anybody in his mirror through that back windshield who has been closing the gap.
Yeah, you can see his crew chief probably telling him that right
that's
there.
James talking to the spotter saying, man, get us some help with these lap cars, because I think the lap cars is what's holding up Martin Truex Jr.
Back. Is that him?
Yes, sir.
30 to go here.
Oh, boy, Martin Truex Jr. so close to the wall right there. I can tell you one thing, on the racetrack, Martin Truex Jr. definitely giving it under 5% because he's every lap off of turn 2, off of turn 4. You can see the back of that car hanging out.
But did you hear the surprise in his voice? He did not expect Kyle Larson to be filling up his rearview mirror.
Oh, he had been hearing about his Kyle Busch, his teammate, not Kyle Larson.
Well, he's been dominating for 264 laps. Now all of a sudden he's looking in the mirror. He hadn't done that all day.
Lap cars ahead, and Larson is there. Just 2 car lengths off the back bumper of the leader.
He's going to have to make sure that he catches him at the right time with these lappers. I think the line that Truex is running is the same line that Larson wants to run. His best chance is to capitalize on these 3 lappers right here. Every lap that he follows him, he wears his tires out more and more and more.
We can see him turning down off the corner a little bit earlier than Martin Truex Jr. Gets a little clean air to the nose and seems to give him a slight advantage.
Alex Bowman already 1 lap down. And here come the leaders. Keselowski in the mix, although laps down. Brad is 3 down.
Brad knew they were racing. He backed off, let him go. These other 2, they're racing for the position.
Man,
racing on the way.
Oh, Larson was thinking about getting to the quarter panel there. He saw that lap car up ahead at 15 of Davison.
James Davison with a Dick Johnson throwback from when the Aussie ran a bunch of races.
You can see the 5 overdrove turn 3 right there. Lost a little bit of time, Jamie.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Kyle Larson, he's led 500 laps at this racetrack, but never won. He's trying now so hard to lead his first lap of the day. And his crew chief, Cliff Daniels, just keeps telling him, I know he's there. I know you see him. Take care of your stuff.
It'll be 25 to go when they come around.
Yeah, the biggest thing you don't want to do, and it might have even happened already a little bit where Kyle Larson's going to have to cool down his tires.
Yep.
He was in his tire tracks, working those tires very hard through the lap traffic, saw some opportunities, and he went for it. And now you can see he's paying the price as that car's starting to dance around on him.
And that's what I was saying. The best chance is as soon as you catch him, he had those 3 lappers. You've got to try to capitalize on using one as a pick or putting him in a situation. Because once you stall out, it's so hard to explain, but for whatever reason, you'll catch them half a second faster. You got to his bumper, and if you can't get beside him, for whatever reason, you really stall out.
Boy, Blaney on the move. Don't know what they did at lap 255 on that stop, but it certainly woke up his number 12.
Hey, Mike, whether it's Truex, Larson, Kyle Busch, you know the last driver to win a Cup race on Mother's Day? Look to your right in a little leisure suit. 2007, right here at Darlington.
Yeah, Larry, it wasn't scheduled that way, but that's the way it ended up going. We rained out the day before and ended up running it on Mother's Day. It's kind of a funny story. My engine was going to blow up. We were overheating that day, and my stepdad, my mom, my sister who were here, they decided to leave because they said, oh, there's no way this engine's going to make it. And we stayed out on a late pit stop and got clean air to the nose, somehow made it the last couple laps and won the race.
Did they turn around?
They did turn around, but it's way too late.
Dang it.
Martin Truex was in a similar situation here last fall, but that did not work out for him. He was trying to get around Chase Elliott after leading a whole bunch of laps here. And that's what happened.
Yeah, just some hard racing there, going for it.
And he finished 22nd. watch Ryan Blaney. You're fighting with Hamlin. This happened a lap ago. And Blaney gets up and scrubs the wall pretty hard.
He did a good job staying off of him right there.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, he entered the corner and it looked like he was about to touch the wall, maybe touched it a little bit, and picked up the throttle, and it just went right into the wall.
So easy to do.
That moves Christopher Bell up into the top 5, who was right behind them when that happened. Kyle Larson has dropped back a couple of tenths. Is he saving something, conserving something, or just finding a pace for right now until another opportunity presents?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. Again, I do believe running the lap times that he was running when he caught Martin Truex Jr., our leader, I think that, you know, just taking that air off the car, I think it overheated those tires a little bit, maybe you know, change the balance. But also I think Martin Truex Jr., you heard the urgency there of, wait a minute, you know, Larson, where'd he come from, all that. And I think he's now calmed down and he's got back in his rhythm, and also running, like you said, Clint, running the same line as Kyle Larson. So it's really taking that advantage that Larson had when he caught him away.
Yeah, it's forcing Kyle to move around. You just saw him right there coming off the 4. Tried to run low and just find some juice down there. At the end of the day, Martin's doing such a good job of running that high line right on the wall. But it's not over. When I say that highlight, man, it is so easy. One little slip up like you saw Ryan Blaney do right there, and it's gone. It's history. We hand it over to Kyle Larson to win.
2 fastest cars for the last 3 laps have been Truex and 3rd place Kyle Busch, who's 4 seconds back.
See Kyle Larson there. He sees what Martin Truex Jr. is doing. He sees the line he's running, where he's gaining time, and that you see Larson trying to switch up his line a little bit, trying to find something. Is there some grip somewhere on this racetrack that, you know, I haven't been able to find just yet?
I see Kyle Larson looser than Martin Truex. He doesn't trust a car running right. He doesn't enter right on the wall, and he doesn't like to exit on the wall.
Hey, the Win One Soon Club.
Denny's in the
6th,
wall.
7th,
That's
and
heavy
8th.
contact.
Yep. Racing with Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott, all 3 of them trying for their first win of the season. Find themselves racing for 6th place.
Well, and Hamlin's talked about it several times. He's got the lead in the points by good margins, been very consistent. He wants the win, and he's willing to risk a lot at the end of these races to try to get it. Jumped over the cushion last week and looked like he just jumped over it again here in Darlington.
Listen to his throttle right here in Kevin Harvick. That's how slick this thing is. Couldn't hardly even touch the gas.
So you see that out, completely out of it. Pretty heavy on the brakes, especially to get that bottom lane to work. Hooks that apron. And this is what I was talking about, Mike, with 750 horsepower. You don't get wide open until you're on the straightaway.
This corner down here in 1 and 2 is what's so slick.
Now Larson begins to close right back up, and this is just as close as he's been.
Woo,
about a 1/3 of a second. And did you see that?
That's the furthest I've seen Martin Truex Jr. step that car out since he's had the lead today.
And that's what you have to do. If you're Kyle Larson, you got to keep that pressure on him. Try to force him to make a mistake. Get him looking in that mirror, hoping that he'll make a mistake. Maybe jump on that gas and get in the wall.
Maybe get him to overheat that right rear tire. Here's Martin Truex Jr. just running right up there against the wall.
As close as it gets right there.
He does. Now, he does that to a certain degree every single lap. That's the most I've seen that car yawed out yet.
And if you're Martin Truex, you're in that spotter's ear. I know he probably doesn't know all these guys, but he's like, hey, get these guys out of my way. Get them down. I want them at the outside, please.
And you know, Eddie DeHaan is telling Kyle Larson, hey, traffic ahead. This may be the time. Let's open up Martin's radio.
Help from the 6 car, please.
There it is.
That 6 car is like 12 car lengths ahead, and he's already saying, please give me some help.
Copy, their last car, lead lap here.
Yeah, and right there, that's not the message you want to hear, because you've got Ryan Newman, who's already a tough guy to pass, and he's trying to stay on the lead lap. There's no gimme there, and these are fishing buddies too.
And Newman is racing Tyler Reddick to stay on the lead lap.
Man, I think he touched the wall right there.
I think he touches it about every other lap.
Ten to go next time by. Which of these would you rather not hear? Kyle Larson is closing, or Newman just ahead of you is the last car on the lead lap?
Or Newman side by side with the 8 car right in front of you. That's the worst case scenario, is those cars get side by side and slow you down.
Yeah,
you see right
there
here.
You go. This couldn't be a worse situation for our leader. You see Mark Truex Jr., the car slid sideways getting into turn 1. This is exactly what you want to see, though, if you're Kyle Larson.
Whoa, that's exactly. I think this is Kyle Larson's last chance right here.
He's actually lost a little ground too, Mark Truex, these last couple laps.
It could be one of his best chances, but he's fallen to 0.8 of a second back.
If Truex gets clear of Reddick right here, it's almost game over.
There's still 2 more. You know that Reddick's going to run that outside, though. But now you got Newman.
Ooh, yeah, that's going to definitely hold up Truex. Good bait, see.
And Larson is closing. Newman completes that pass.
Oh man, you saw how much Mark Truex Jr. had to. He lost a lot of speed there because he had to slide up the racetrack to get up ahead of.
But if you're Kyle, now these guys are racing for the lucky dog, and they're going to be racing hard.
Whoa,
take
Kyle.
it easy.
Thread the needle. Had one chance and took it.
That's what you can do when you're in second. You can't do that if you're Mark Truex Jr. leading this race.
Takes some coordination and some luck to make this work.
Don't they say you can't go 3 wide?
It takes something else. It takes something else too, Mike.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you that right now. If you ever met Kyle Larson and got to hang out with him, you would not think he has what it takes to do that move right there, and he does it time and time again. He's such a quiet, calm demeanor. He was sure hoping that Chase Briscoe would slow him down a little bit more. These boys are going for it. And I tell you what, this crowd's on their feet because of it too.
And I got to believe here, as we come to 5 to go, you're going to see Larson just continue to start taking a little more risk, a little more, just thread that needle, get closer to the wall, get in the throttle a little bit sooner, slide that thing around a little bit more if you have to, if that's what it's going to take to close the gap. And that is what it's going to take, and I still don't even know if that's going to get it done.
.288 complete. Martin Truex has led 243 of them. A dominating performance. 5 laps to go. And now he puts some distance between himself and Kyle Larson.
I think Kyle's just he's
used it up,
used his stuff up. He's actually being smart from what I can see. He's moved down a little bit off the wall. The last thing you want to do is throw it away and end up 15th or a lap down because of this.
Christopher Bell was a top 6 car. Now he's on pit road. Tag the wall. They'll put right sides on it, send it back out to finish up here. But he'll go perhaps 2 laps down with this stop.
Ross Chastain putting a nice 15th place run together.
So 9 cars on the lead lap. Then Chase Briscoe in the free pass position. One of 5 cars now 1 lap down. Back to Christopher Bell. Then Chastain, part of 4 cars 2 laps back.
I want to see the right side on this 19 car when this race is over. It's hard to see at Darlington on TV because the wall blocks it so much because they run right up next to it. But man, I've never seen a guy this close to the wall that all day long sideways with a car that to me looks like right now has no marks on it.
If that quarter panel doesn't have a mark on it, it's been scared the better part of this race.
This time over 2 seconds here, man. Nothing coming. It's all you.
White flag waves, 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Martin Truex in the races where he's led more than 200 laps has not been able to seal the deal. No driver who won a stage at Darlington has ever gone to victory lane. Truex won them both today. Kyle Larson now 2.5 back. Martin Truex Jr. wins the Goodyear 400 at Darlington.
That's an ass whipping right there. Oh, yeah, man. No.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
All right, so it wasn't quite Ned Jarrett who won here by 14 laps in the Southern 500, but the margin he had at the end of stage 2 and a caution-free stage 3, he held off Kyle Larson and drove away.
It's the modern day equivalent of it,
Yes.
that's for sure.
Yes.
Man, there's a little mark on that right rear. He did brush it once or twice.
Father, thank you for this. Thank you for these guys. Help us to honor you with this. Thank you, Father. In thy name we pray. Amen. Yeah.
Coach Gibbs leads the team prayer as Martin Truex has scored his 30th career win, 28th all time, and his 3rd of the season. He is the only driver to go to victory lane more than once this year. And he gets his 2nd win at Darlington. He won the Southern 500 in 2016. '90th win for Joe Gibbs Racing. Larson 2nd by 2.5 seconds. Kyle Busch 3rd. William Byron, Denny Hamlin, the top 5. Harvick, Elliott, Blaney, Buescher, and Newman 1 lap down, the top 10.
It scratched up more than I thought.
Yeah. You know, I watch a dominant performance like this out of Martin Truex Jr. And you know, he's going to do a heck of a burnout here too. He just doesn't get enough credit. I think it's because he's a pretty quiet guy. He does not, and he doesn't shout it out to the world, but he does not get enough credit for how talented he is of a race car driver. But today, boy, he proved what he's capable of.
I think the biggest scare that he had was when Kyle Larson filled up his rearview mirror. He thought it was maybe a lapper on fresh tires, didn't know it was Larson right behind him for a minute.
Well, he didn't blow a tire out racing, but he blew it out on a burnout. Both of them.
Doubt whether there's much left.
That quarter panel's destroyed now, isn't it? Oh. Called it, boys. Called it.
Yes, you did. You did have first pick.
He gave me an easy one.
So we were joking during various breaks. Who was going to be the first to tell Martin that no stage winner has ever won Darlington? I think we'll leave that for Regan Smith.
Oh, Martin Truex Jr. Thumbs up to the crowd. Quite the smoke show, Martin. I don't know if you knew this before the race or not, but no stage winner has ever won at Darlington. You just put that to bed, though.
Yeah, I guess I'm glad I could do that. We've won a bunch of stages here in the past couple years, and just it's always lady luck got us. You know, track position, it'd be one thing or the other, and just really proud of everybody on this Auto Winners Camry. I think this flat black's a throwback to you, Regan, when you won here, but no, Furniture, really cool throwback to Furniture Row, and hopefully Barney Visser's out there watching. I know Regan, both you and I owe him a lot, but this one's for Furniture Row throwback. Pretty cool.
You had your car right up by the wall all day long. We made note of how good you were doing up against the fence. Was this car just so good that you were able to be confident in that?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, we just had a good balance. You know, the car would do what I wanted it to do, and I just had to manage those long runs. It was really loose that last run, and I was nervous with the 5 catching us, and you know, we got mired in some traffic there, and that's always tough. But thanks to auto owners, obviously Bass Pro Shops, TRD, Toyota, Cessna, Noble Aerospace, Garmin, Oakley, everybody that helps us, Research Fine Foods. We're really lucky to get to do this. I'm so lucky to get to drive for these guys. What an awesome team we have. Hopefully we can keep this rolling.
Nice job. Thanks, Martin.
Thanks, guys.
th career victory for Martin Truex, who breaks the string of stage winners never going to victory lane at Darlington. That's where he's headed today.
Gets the checkered flag. Let's hear from some of the top 5 finishers, starting with the driver who finished 4th.